brawl
It does.
because it packs tear gas.
It packs a real punch.
BurnABYRNA.com. Go there. Try before you buy at a Sportsman's Warehouse location, but you can find the location.
Try
at
before you buy.
BurnABYRNA.com. Check it out right now.
Yeah, check it out right now.
BurnABYRNA.com.
Don't check it out right now. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was testing it. Uh-oh. Good morning. Oh my gosh, good morning. Happy Tuesday? Yes, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Good morning. How are you? I'm fine. Despite reports. No, I'm fine. I don't know. It's a rough time right now. I don't know why. Oh no. Oh, I think I know why. But anyway, good morning. Good morning. I hope you are well. I hope you got some good rest and that you are ready for Tuesday coming at you, whether you like it or not. I I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's Tuesday, and that's about it. That's about all I was gonna say. But yeah, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I have a friend. Good morning, Haggard. How are you? There's a friend. There's a friend. Yeah. No. Anyways, yeah, I don't know why I don't have anything to say. Not sure. I guess I'm just like, I don't know. Blah 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 blah. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna start anything yet. I'm gonna move slow. That's it. I've decided. It's gonna be a slow Tuesday. And I'm gonna move slow. I'm trying to clean out my. I figure I don't know what to do when I don't feel well, like tummy. Hi, Jane. When I don't feel good, like I've had like real discomfort like the whole weekend. I don't know how else to put it because it's not like a traditional like stomach flu or anything, and I'm not. There's nothing disgusting about it. I just don't feel good. Like I feel not good, and what I'm trying to do is just like clear my body out of anything. That's what I'm first. Well, except for I'm drinking coffee. I won't give that up because I don't eat that much, so I'm not gonna. I don't have that much to give up. So I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up my coffee, but I do need to figure out. I wonder why your text message chain didn't show up on the screen. But anyway, whatever. Malaise, general malaise. Is that what we call it? General malaise. That's what I'm feeling. But yeah, I just thought it'd be a nice chill morning. I do have stuff. Oh wait, shit. That's right. There was one more. There is one more thing. That's supposed to be. Ah, bless the rains down in Africa. Have you ever tried activated charcoal? It is my go-to for stomach issues, but can't use within 1 hour of taking meds because it could interfere with medicine absorption. I have not. What? Oh shit. Um, what is the how do you ingest it? Is it something like a pill or is it a powder or how do you I might try that. I don't know. I feel I need to go to the doctor. I mean, I need to just kind of get my shit together. I'm waiting for a bunch of referrals. That's the problem. I love that. I love that. Let's see. Oh. Oh, here we go. I know. Oh no, that's 23 hours. That's tomorrow. Wait, what is today? The 29th? Oh, I thought today was the 30th. I'm sorry. Oops. Damn, Paul and Gracia is tomorrow. It comes in capsules. Okay, I'll grab some. Let me just make sure there's nothing upcoming that is on my list. Oh, there's no real. That's actually interesting. There's no real hearings today. There's hearings tomorrow. That's weird. I guess they'll. I don't know. What would they do? Would they come back into town? I don't get that. I don't get how the Congress has so much time off. I really don't. I don't understand that. Why does the Congress have so much time off? I don't understand. Uh, but yeah. Gosh, I don't know. Yesterday, the terrible shooting in Manhattan. Was watching that unfold, and I just I can't believe that we're at a point uh, where it's just like a I don't know. Like I don't know what the motive was. I don't know any of that, and I'm not sure that it's just not necessarily my business. It's not that it's not that it's not intriguing, but it's not what I look for first. I'm just like, why when you're going to work, you're going to work, and somebody comes in and shoots you, and you're at your fucking job. That just like pisses me off so much. Like, how dare you? Well, first of all, how dare you kill anyone? Like, what is your, like, figure it out. I'm sorry. Figure it out. Um, it's hard to absorb. It's so hard to absorb all the evil. There's so much. I know. It's just like, fuck you. Fuck you, people with guns. Fuck you. I don't care what you're upset about. I mean, I do care if, like, there's a lot of, obviously, if you're going to get to the point where you have to kill someone, you're dealing with some really significant mental health issues. And I totally understand. Like, that to me also is one of the things that angers me the most is the way that we approach people who are experiencing like a mental breakdown or something. Now, granted, when you have a gun, that's you've taken it to a next level. But yeah, two shootings yesterday. That's right, Reno and NYC. I just I wish we would try and help people who are really suffering. And also, I really hate like the people filming people in public when they have public meltdowns because I mean, I don't get that extreme, but I have had moments where in my early unmedicated issues, I had like really bad panic attacks and stuff in public. And I can't stand the videotaping of people who are having a mental breakdown. I think it's so cruel and frankly unnecessary and unhelpful. And it demonizes people with mental health issues. And it's not good. It's not good. Um, Yeah, they just aren't flooded with guns. You're right, Max. You're right. Uh, the activated charcoal, I started using it in Africa, but at the time it did not come in caps, and I had to get from aquarium supply and val, val up in toilet paper to take it. But now you can find it in cap. Oh my gosh. Okay. God, you're so brave, Max. I used it when I was detoxing. I had pills. It was a weird diet. Hate just meat or yogurt. Oh, ate just meat or yogurt for 3 days to start weight loss. It worked. Well, I think that is probably part of my issue. Hi, Grace Lisa, how are you? Yeah, I just like I think the way we approach mental health in this country sucks. I think everybody would acknowledge that. Um and also the way we treat each other with mental illness sometimes sucks really bad too. So, I don't know. My heart goes out to all the families, the family of the people who were killed or scared or injured. The shooter's family, I mean, that is, oh my God. I don't even know what that would, I can't even imagine the pain that would come with something like that. So I don't know, just a heartbreak all around. Hi, Badger. Good morning. Yeah, so I don't know. It was just kind of, I don't know, depressing. And I don't know. I don't see things getting too much better, unfortunately, because after watching the way Dumpy McDumperson acted this weekend and the fact that Gaza is starving to death, which also has to be one of the most unimaginable deaths ever. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a blah day. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, Grace Lisa. So we're just gonna have a blah day together. I tested my tech, so my tech works at least. That's one thing. That's a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I'll probably try the activated charcoal. Now I'm kind of like in it. Like that sounds like a good idea and something I might need to do. I like that idea. Due to its porous structure and negative charge, activated charcoal can bind to various substances, including toxins and chemicals that have a positive charge or are attracted to its surface. Oh wow. Yeah, celebrate the wins. Um, first of all, Ursula was amazing this weekend. Ursula von der Leyen, my girl crush, if you didn't know, she was amazing. And uh, I think there was something this morning where somebody was like, I don't think this tariff thing is such a good idea. Now I can't remember who said it. And it was just like yeah, that's right. It's not a good thing. Where is it? Da, 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 da. And I also just want to say that YouTube is the trashiest, full of really, really horrible people. Let me tell you, I feel like there are two things on YouTube. There's kind of your standard like talk show with large um there's like talk shows with large audiences, fast chats, there's gamers, stuff like that. Pretty standard stuff. Nothing really, if you see anything in the chat, nothing really ever tends to happen in chat because it's just going so fast, right? Like there's no chance for like real drama or anything like that in the chat. And then once in a while, even though I have indeed, I swear to Jesus on my mother's dead body that I have. Are we all in the wrong place? What's that matter? Where were you? Where were you? What happened? We all in the wrong place? What happened? What do you mean? I've been thinking of getting really fit again, of if still possible, and using activated charcoal detox, eating healthy, and exercise. The fact I've even thinking that's fantastic. I celebrate everything. I celebrate everything. Yeah, no, I absolutely said at the place that said July 29th. Oh no! I went to the wrong show. Oh my god! I thought it was the 30th. That's why people didn't show up. Oh my god! I was like, why isn't anyone showing up at 6:30? I didn't realize I chose the wrong show. Oh no! I know what happened. Oh my god! Now I know what happened. Oh my god! How embarrassing! I chose the wrong show when I went live. I chose tomorrow's show. Oh my god. I hate this system. I'm so sorry. Where is everybody? Oh no. Hold on. Oh god damn it. I did not I wonder I'm gonna go find them. I'm gonna go find them. Dag nabbit. Dag fucking nabbit. I chose the wrong day. Oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, everybody, I'm over here. We are here. I'm sorry. I had the wrong date. Everybody's like, I'm gonna kill you. Wait, where? Now I gotta find it. Shit. God damn it. I'm so stupid. I'm thinking, oh, this has got to be it. Oh, wait. Oh. I know I'm here. I know. I'm so glad you're on Discord, Haggard. You're gonna love it. You are absolutely gonna love it. Yeah, CBS News. Anyway, I just put it. Yeah, I've had to do some creative dog proofing. Oh, Kevin, Kevin's over there. You guys, stop chatting over there. Come over here. I'm so sorry. I fooled you. I fooled you. Let's play a game and called Find the Right Street. I was sitting in the other chat since 9:29. Karen, I'm so sorry. Oh God. No, no, I'm not embarrassed. I mean, I am embarrassed, but it's a typical thing. Where's Lolo? Oh my God. I'm so sorry. You guys, it's my fault. I know this group loves hide and seek, don't they? You guys love hide and seek. Shit always happens though, Carla. What about that? What about the fact that shit is always happening? Oh my God. I thought today was the 30th. And then nobody was here, and I'm like, oh no, what happened? Do they hate me because I keep canceling stuff? I seriously thought that. I thought, oh boy, maybe everybody's just really tired of me and my inability to maintain. We need to get out to draw. Where's Lolo? What the fuck? I'm so sorry. God damn it. Fuck. Fuck. How embarrassing. Wrong chat, guys. Carrie's like, come over to the show. I know you are. Let me tell you. I know that you are. You guys are the most resilient friends I've ever had. Can I tell you that? You are the most resilient friends. Oh my God. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. I dropped the link in the other chat, so hopefully people will be able to find it. I can't fucking believe I should delete that one, actually. That's what I should. Oh my God, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. Anyways. Oh well, that's what you get. What do you think we are? 12? Yeah, I should delete it. Yeah, let me go ahead and anyway, good morning. God, it's always something, right? Like it's always one thing or another. I should make sure I delete the right one. Oh, well, anyway, good morning. Well, now I need to now I know at least that I was completely in the wrong again. Naturally. Ridiculous. I'm so ridiculous. Yikes. I seriously, it was a carefully planned out challenge to see if we could find you. Well, okay, that if I'm playing those games, that's a pretty goddamn stupid game to play because I need every one of you. So I shouldn't be playing with your hearts. Let me put it that way. Don't play with my heart. You know. God damn, I'm so sorry, but it's so hilarious to me because literally as I started and nobody was in here, I was like, "Oh my god, they're probably so done with me. Like they're probably so done between the tech issues and the cancellations and everything." I'm just like, you guys are probably like, "Get the fuck out of here. We're not doing this." But I'm really glad that you're back. So thank you for coming back, even though I don't know if I deserve your beautiful attention, but I'll try to earn it back. God, life. I wish I was a stronger, more clear person. Uh, grass. LOL. They miss me. Yeah. Oh, they miss me. Um, Yesterday I missed half the show because I was listening while pulling weeds. Oh my gosh, because my arm improved. Oh, but my neighbors wanted to chat. Oh, they were worried about me because I wasn't out in the garden or pulling crab. That's really nice, Jane. That's nice of your neighbors. I think that's a lovely interaction. That's an amazing excuse also to miss the show. The show was kind of pathetic yesterday because I had technical issues. So again, it wasn't, sometimes things just don't work out. But that's what we've always said about this show. We're incredibly human and all that comes with it. God damn it. Um I thought there was some stuff in Congress today, but there isn't. There is stuff tomorrow. And actually tomorrow, for reals, is the Paul and Gracia interrogation. I mean, oh, oh, thanks, Karen. I mean, that's really sweet of you. That's nice, Grace. Thanks for giving me grace on that. I really do appreciate it. You guys are really amazing. I feel really lucky. I feel very lucky that when I'm having a bad time, I always get a really positive response, and I really appreciate that. And I know that that's grace. That's grace being given, and that means a lot. I think that world goes a long way when people give each other grace. Yeah. Isn't Congress on vacation? They are, but they are having some shit. It might just be the House. No, I think they're all on like the August break or whatever that is, or whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. But I think that, hi, Pepper, I love you, my sister. Oh, I love you so much. Thanks, Pep. I don't know. I just want to tell you that it doesn't go unnoticed, the grace that you give me. I just want you to know that. I know I feel it very deeply. And so I really care about it. So just know that I really do care about what that you guys are spending time with me. I mean that means everything, actually. So yeah, I do have a few things lined up this morning. I have a few articles that I didn't pull up. I don't know why I didn't pull them up. That's so weird. Usually I do that, but that's okay. We'll start with some stuff while we're while I'm finding the other things that I wanted to read to you today. I wanted to read to you today. But yeah, we'll just take it slow because it's Tuesday. Schlump wanted the Senate to work through the break to confirm his judges. Ah, well, that makes a lot of sense then. That makes a lot of sense. I think that probably is true because that's what is on tomorrow is the Senate. So it must just be Senate confirmation hearings. But but tomorrow will be a good one. Well, not a good one, a bad one. Ingracia, Paul Ingracia, who's up for which one is he up for? Read about him. Since we're going to see him tomorrow, we should read about him. Oh, wait. Yeah, he's for special counsel, so kind of an important legal advisory uh whatchamacallit, legal advisory thing to the president. So it's important. Yeah, or to do full recess so he could do recess appointments. Ah, interesting. I know they are evil. You don't owe us anything. Your show is a gift. Aw, on days you don't feel like it's understandable. It's not like we don't have. I know. Actually, you do have the rest of the internet to occupy you. True. It's absolutely true, Karen. That's a really good point. Like trying to get Bovie in a way he can't. Exactly, butterflies. Hi, easily distracted. How are you? How are you? Sorry about the misrouting this morning. I chose the wrong date. I put us ahead a day. I chose July 30th for my show day. I thought, oh, well, I don't like the 29th. No, that's not true. I like the 29th. I mean, I have no problem with the 29th. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Is that the one? No, that's not. Yeah, okay. AFGE. What's the AFGE? Well, let me show you something about Paul. What's his face? Gracia. This is what is the AFGE? I'm not find out. Find out. We'll find out. What are they? NST. God, can you guys put a better like? What are you? Can you like? I think people with okay civil. Oh, so this is the. I think this is the Civil Servants Union. AFGE. Is that the Civil Service Union? Aw, thanks, Jane. I love you. Really, it means a lot. Everything you guys say is like sweet. I'm lucky. What? Oh no. Oh no, Jim. What do you call a woman hanging on the side of a fishing boat? I'm not sure I want to know. A net. And we're going to talk about the EU trade deal today. Yes, we are. Yeah, that's cute, Jim. Good morning, Jim. Hi, Kevin made it over here. Thank goodness. Kevin. Oh my God. So this is the Civil Servants Union. They put out a story. AFGE opposes barely 30-year-old OSC nominee who called civil servants parasites and bugmen. That's hard to read that, isn't it? I don't know how you guys would read that. Oh, 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 oh. Here we go. Okay. AFG and allied organizations representing hundreds of thousands of federal workers. Let me put this over here so I can see it. Boop. Thousands of federal workers are speaking out against Dump's nominee for special counsel, Paul Ingracia. We're going to watch him tomorrow. Warning that his confirmation would be a direct threat to whistleblower protections and merit based employment. Ingracia, just barely 30 years old, why did I say that? With minimal legal experience, has a troubling record of attacking federal employees. He has publicly referred to career civil servants as parasites and bugmen. Bugmen? What a weird term. What is he, 12? What is fucking bugman? What does that even mean? Raising serious concerns about his ability to impartially uphold the rights and protections of federal workers. The Office of Special Counsel is critical in defending whistleblowers and ensuring federal employees are protected from political retaliation. Ingracia's nomination, critics argue, could dangerously politicize the independent office. I think I can't. We have some background on him. I just have to put my hands on it. Our members deserve an OSC led by someone who respects and understands the critical role federal employees play in serving and protecting the American public, said AFG National President Everett Kelly. Federal workers are already under significant pressure following recent administration attacks on union rights and workplace protections. AFGE leaders emphasized that a compromised OSC would make the situation worse, further undermining morale and public trust in government services. As the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee prepares to review Ingracia's nomination, AFGE is mobilizing members nationwide, urging them to contact their senators and demand a nominee who will uphold the integrity of the civil service. Senate HSGAC ranking member Gary Peters called him bigoted, and called for his withdrawal. Federal employees who blow the whistle on waste, fraud, and abuse put their careers on the line to expose corruption, Kelly continued. They deserve protection, not persecution. The Senate must reject Ingracia and demand a nominee committed to fairness, accountability, and respect for public servants. Servants. That's right. So that's tomorrow. We're gonna see. Hi, Peace Love. How are you? He sounds like a dope dipshit with a rest. He does. You know what he looks like? He looks like Bud from Arrested Development. Have you seen him? Sorry. Da, 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 da. Where's a picture of this little dork? He's this little dork. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, come on. You're not going to just show me his picture. You got this big old fucking thing on it. Well, actually, we'll watch this. ABC News. Good morning, peace, love. He looks like the devil from that movie the other night. Yes! Like the Stephen Miller type. What is this? What is this? What's this?
Welcome back. It's been a wild political ride for Elon Musk, and tonight, as Rachel reported earlier, Musk is officially out of the Trump administration. This comes on the heels of him criticizing Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill in an interview. It caps a turbulent tenure as the chief of Doge, trying to slash government spending across the board. Jay O'Brien looks back at what Musk did in just a matter of months.
Is this about Ingracia?
Most recognizable.
It's not even about Ingracia, you goddamn stupid assholes. Show me Ingracia. This is Ingracia. Oh, they're just not going to do it. Okay, that's fine. Where's a good picture of this Nimrod? He's a Claremont Institute. He's a Claremont Institute dweeb. God, I just he also just doesn't take a straight up picture. Oh, here's his Wikipedia. This should be better. Hold on. Nope, it doesn't want to go there. There he is. Yeah, he's an idiot. Wait, what? I'm surviving under Canadian smoke. Thanks, Neil. Yeah, peace, love. Don't make that. Never. We won't make that joke. I texted your joke to my oldest son, Jim. He gets mad at me because I laugh so hard at jokes like that, but not ones he thinks are really funny. I just groan. My dad's jokes, but they grew on me. I know, mine too. My dad was horribly unfunny when I was a teenager and then became funnier as I got older. So anyway, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're not blaming any of our Canadian beautiful friends for their smoke, but we understand. We send over some pretty bad shit to them too, by the way, just so you know. But yeah, this is the guy we're going to talk about tomorrow, but he's an asshole. He's kind of a bigoted motherfucker. And he's a Claremont Institute prodigy. So that's where he comes from, is the Claremont Institute. Weapons of mass destruction, or institutes of mass destruction. Yikes. Good old Paul Ingracia. All right, let's see. Let's see what I have to read to you today. I'm gonna read to you today. Yes. Open a panel. Open a panel. Okay. Oh, I wanted to watch this. I wanted to read this. Yeah, I wanted to read this. Open it in a new tab. Hold on, I'm so sorry. Open it in a new tab. I want to open this one because I want to talk about that. We already read that. Okay. Fantastic. Wait. That I already read. I think I already talked about that. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, why are these all like repetitive? Okay. Here we go, and here we go, here we go, and here we go. All right, the first thing, it's 44 minutes. I guess I'll read this. God damn it. Why is it 45 minutes? Actually, maybe we should just watch it. I don't know. Let me see. I'm going to start with something else. But I might go to that. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. The Canadians, uh, I blame broccoli and Queenie. The Canadians I don't like. If you know, you know. If you don't, be glad. Are they still around? Actually, I just trolled Queenie the other day, and she told me I was really fat. And I said, you know what? You're not wrong. Actually, I'm gonna take that. I'll take that. I have gained some weight. Mushroom King. No, he's the broccoli king. broccoli, and it's this guy. It's two Canadians who are chuds, basically. And yeah, unfortunately, I guess they're still around. But yeah, I just trolled her the other day. But she basically just told me I was fat and get out of here. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Oh, I'm babysitting a 10-year-old going on 16, so I've had to break out my jokes today. What is the scariest plant in the forest? Bamboo. Jim. I'm sure the 10-year-old absolutely loves it. Yeah, I don't know. Boy, the YouTube streets, I did have something come up on my homepage last night. I did check it. Unfortunately, I clicked it and then I immediately regretted it and I left. But pretty much the whole thing that I was ever involved in the convoy, post convoy bullshit, those people are insane. Every single one of them. Every single one of every single one of them is so fucking weird and selfish and mixed up and cruel, and I just can't even believe it. I can't believe I survived that entire session, and I absolutely, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 people, I absolutely detest everyone involved in the whole like convoy, post convoy. I feel like they are some of the most disgusting people and selfish, and just I couldn't believe it last night. I had to turn it. I mean, I turned it off. And I'm not going to go into detail because it's just the whole thing is untoward. The whole thing is disrespectful. So I was just like, wow, these are, oh, present company excluded. Yes, Max. Yes. Max, I never really thought of you as part of the crowd in that. I mean, you always kind of stayed outside that. I don't know. I don't think anyone's paying them, but man, they are just like tearing each other apart and not focused on anything that is actually going to help the world. Literally. And it's just ridiculous. I can't even, I like laugh because it's like, I'm so glad. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know how I escaped being part of that because I never was a part of their stupid fucking weird ass drama. But now they've taken it to lows that I'm just like, I don't even know. I don't even know. It's so weird. But anyway. Yes, you were. You were in Weed Tifa. That's right. So you know. Yeah, it just was they're really weird people. I just think I don't know. I just don't know how adults spend their time like that. I really don't. Like I spend my time on stupid shit, don't get me wrong. But this is like whole new lows. Really, whole new lows. It's the Canadians, it's the Americans, it's all of them, Badge. It's not just anyone. No, they're all like I just can't believe the trash humans that existed in that or exist in that thing. And now the post, like the Scientology, like that whole world, they're all trash too. Like the anti-Scientology people, they're complete trash. So it's like they're all getting, and it's merging right now, and it's just, bleh. Yeah. Well, Jerry fucking took sides with the people who tried to harm me. So Jerry can go fuck himself. Yeah, he took sides with people like Taylor and those guys, and that he can go fuck himself. Anybody who did can go fuck himself. Anybody. Anybody who even gave those people a quarter can go fuck themselves. That's what I say. So there. You guys were wrong. You were on the wrong side of that issue. You should have stood up for me. and you're fucking dicks because of it. So go fuck yourselves all the way. All of you. Anyway, I know Queenie calling. If you know Queenie, then you're like, yeah. So I don't take it too seriously when she calls me really fat. Although I've gained some weight, so she's not wrong. But I can lose that weight, but I'm still not a bigot like she is. That will never change. Anyways, enough about them. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I know. I'm sorry, peace, love. Oh, I think you do know what I'm talking about, darling. I think you do know what I'm talking about. Last night, I think I saw you in that chat. I think you do know. Yeah, like I hate all of them too. But we do have bigger problems right now. We do have other things we could spend our energy on other than beef with people that we don't know, people on the internet. You know, like whatever. And what I think about you is go fuck yourself. Yeah, exactly. Are we talking about convoy people and whatever? Yes, sorry. No, we're not talking about who bankrolled them. God. Yes. That was disgusting, peace love. That whole scenario, I didn't stay. I just heard enough to get context, and then I was like, this is the lowest of the lows. I don't even like him, okay? I'll just say this for the people in the chat that know, and I'll move on. I don't even like the guy that they were talking about. Like, I have had beef with him since the beginning when he used to throw me out of his chat all the time and tell me I'm an asshole and all that stuff. I've never liked him. But what was done last night is disgusting. It is absolutely motherfucking disgusting. So I don't know what to say. Like, I'm disappointed in everybody that took part in that. Because I get it that he's a dick, because I think he's a dick. But I don't think anyone deserves to have them talked about like for hours and hours and hours. You know, basically, I don't know, like it was a family member of his who's talking about him and his family. If I was their mother, I'd be like, you guys, both of you, shut the fuck up right now. No, it wasn't a space. It was some YouTube thing that came up from old, like, convoy / anti-Scientology. The mashup. The mashup of that. So anyway, it's just like, you guys are gross. All of you are gross. All of you. All of you. This is all gross. That's what I think. So anyway, it devolved. The devolution of that whole community is just really disgusting. So whatever. You know what? I'll destroy yourselves because I don't really care about you as individuals, but whatever. Something about hey, listen, I don't want to know. I don't even want to know about that's my point, is I didn't want to know. It's none of my business. And it's, I get it that it's YouTube, and this is what happens in communities is you get like really deep and you start like raking people over the coals and doing all this stuff. I get it. I totally get it. It happens in so many communities. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's fucking gross. Yeah, but you know what? Peace, love, it's not up to us to do that. Okay? This has gone beyond. This has gone beyond. Last night was wrong. And that's it. It was wrong. Period. No matter who it is. No matter who it is. Okay? No matter who. I don't care. I don't like him. I didn't like him from the jump. He didn't like me. I didn't like him. All right? But nobody deserves that. It's all gross. The whole thing is gross. All of them need to go away. But at the same time, they're not going to go away. They are YouTube, right? We're a very small corner of YouTube over here. They are the mass of YouTube. But whatever, like I leave them to heaven. Like, okay, this is how you want to spend your time. You're not focused on helping people with immigration issues. You're not focused on anything happening in Gaza. You're not focused on anything happening locally. Although I don't see it. If you are, you need to prove it or do something, because otherwise I just judge you based on what you do online. And what you do online is gross. All of you. Both sides. Sorry, I love my speeches. Okay. we're gonna get back down to business of what we do here on Wake and Bake with Lolo. Which what we do here, instead of talking about everybody's drug use and whether or not they're this or that, or they need help, or they need to be institutionalized. Ugh. What a weird thing. What a fucking weird thing. In some places is an eye for an eye. That's just so weird. They're not helping anyone. They're not helping anyone. They're actually making people's lives worse. And if I'm going to tell you right now, if I was, I don't know, I just kept thinking about the mom in the situation that has nothing to do with this, but it gets talked about all the time. And I'm like, if I was her, I'd be like, you guys, shut the fuck up. Don't mention me. Don't mention your family. Don't mention anything. Just get out and stay out. But whatever. I don't know. You know what? Live and learn. Okay. But more importantly, I wanted to learn about this ProPublica article that was written on July 15th. So this was a little, this is a couple weeks now that this was about the IRS records being shared with ICE. It felt like small town gossip. I live in a small town. Everyone gossips. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's all it is that that's normally what happens in the world. And it's just like a gossip session. I don't know. It felt very invasive to me. And I don't even know any of the people that are really involved. But it felt very invasive to me that they're talking about people's lives and, making judgments and asking very personal questions. And I don't know. The whole thing was fucking weird. But anyway, I didn't stay. I couldn't handle it. I was like, oh no, we're not doing this. All right. Anyway, the Trump administration, the IRS is building a vast system to share millions of taxpayers' data with ICE. ProPublica has obtained the blueprint for the Trump administration's unprecedented plan to turn over IRS records to Homeland Security in order to speed up the agency's mass deportation efforts. The Internal Revenue Service is building a computer program that would give deportation officers unprecedented access to confidential tax data. But I thought illegal aliens didn't pay taxes, and that was the whole problem. Wait a minute. ProPublica has obtained a blueprint of the system which would create an on-demand process allowing ICE to obtain the home addresses of people it's seeking to deport. Last month, in a previously undisclosed dispute, the acting general counsel at the IRS, Andrew DeMello, refused to turn over the addresses of 7.3 million taxpayers sought by ICE. In an email obtained by ProPublica, DeMello said he had identified multiple legal deficiencies in the agency's request. 7.3 million taxpayers? Oh, payroll taxes, of course. Sorry, that was dumb. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, I mean, I don't know, peace, love. I think they're whatever. They're just having fun on the internet. Let's see, 7.3. 2 days later, on June 27th, DeMello was forced out of his job. People familiar with the dispute said the addresses have not yet been released to ICE. DeMello did not respond to requests for comment, and the administration did not address questions sent by ProPublica. The department, Doggy, began pushing the IRS to provide taxpayer data to immigration agents soon after Dump took office. The tax agency's acting general counsel refused and was replaced by DeMello, who Trump administration officials viewed as more willing to carry out the president's agenda. Soon after, the Department of Homeland Security, ICE's parent agency, and the IRS negotiated a memorandum of understanding that included specific legal guardrails to safeguard taxpayers' private information. Sure. In his email, DeMello said ICE's request for millions of records did not meet those requirements, which include having a written assurance that each taxpayer whose address is being sought was under active criminal investigation. Exactly, butterflies. Another excuse to get to data. There's just no way ICE has 7 million real criminal investigations. That's a fantasy. Yeah, you think? Said a former senior IRS official who had been advising the agency on this issue. The demands from the DHS were unprecedented, the official added, saying that the agency was pressing the IRS to do what amounted to a big data dump. In the past, when law enforcement sought IRS data to support its investigations, agencies would give the IRS the full legal name of the target, an address on file, and an explanation of why the information was relevant to a criminal inquiry. Such requests rarely involved more than a dozen people at a time, former IRS officials said. Danny Werfel, IRS commissioner during the Biden administration, said the privacy laws allowing federal investigators to obtain taxpayer data have never been read to open the door to sharing of thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of tax records for a broad-based enforcement initiative. A spokesperson for the White House said the planned use of IRS data was legal and a means of fulfilling Trump's campaign pledge. That's not a thing. It doesn't matter what a campaign pledge is. We're going shopping. Aw. Her mom buys everything on the internet and has it delivered to their house, even groceries. The little one loves to shop in person. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, good for you. Good for you, Jim. Taxpayer data is among the most confidential in the federal government and is protected by strict privacy laws, which have historically limited its transfer to law enforcement and other government agencies. Unauthorized disclosure of taxpayer return information is a felony that can carry a penalty of up to 5 years in prison. The system that the IRS is now creating would give ICE automated access to home addresses en masse, limiting the ability of IRS officials to consider the legality of transfers. IRS insiders who reviewed a copy of the blueprint said it could result in immigration agents rating wrong or outdated addresses. If this program is implemented in its current form, it's extremely likely that incorrect addresses will be given to DHS and individuals will be wrongly targeted, said an IRS engineer who examined the blueprints and who, like other officials, spoke on condition of anonymity. The dispute that ended in DeMello's ouster was the culmination of months of pressure on the IRS to turn over massive amounts of data in ways that would redefine the relationship between the agency and law enforcement and reduce taxpayers' privacy in records and interviews show. In one meeting in late March between senior IRS and DHS officials, a top ICE official made a suggestion. Why doesn't Homeland Security simply provide the name and state of its targets and have the IRS return the addresses of everyone who matches that criteria? The IRS lawyers were stunned. They feared they could face criminal liability if they handed over the addresses of individuals who were not under a criminal investigation. The conversation and news of deeper collaboration with ICE so disturbed career staff that it led to a series of departures in late March and early April across the IRS's legal, IT, and privacy offices. They were pushing the boundaries of the law, one official said. Everyone at IRS felt the same way. The technical blueprint obtained by ProPublica shows that engineers at the agency are preparing to give DHS what it wants, a system that enables massive automated data sharing. The goal is to launch a new system before the end of July, two people familiar with the matter said. The DHS effort to obtain IRS data comes as top immigration enforcement leaders face escalating White House pressure to deport some 3,000 people per day. One federal agent tasked with assisting ICE on deportation said recent operations have been hamstrung by outdated addresses. Aww. Better information could dramatically speed up arrests. Some of the leads they were giving us were old, said the agent, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak to the press. They're like from 2 administrations ago. Oh, God. People are so terrible. In early March, immigrants' rights groups sued the IRS, hoping to block the plan, arguing that the memorandum of understanding between DHS and the IRS is illegal. But a judge in early May ruled against them, saying the broader agreement complied with Section 6103, the existing law regulating IRS data sharing. That opened the door for engineers to begin building the system. The judge did not address the technical blueprint, which did not exist at the time of the ruling, but the case is pending, which means the new system could still come under legal review. Until now, little was known about the push and pull between the two agencies or the exact technical mechanics behind the arrangement. The plan has been shrouded in secrecy even within the IRS, with details of its development withheld from regular communications. Several IRS engineers and lawyers have avoided working on the project out of concerns about personal legal risk. Asked about the new system, a spokesperson for IRS parent agency Treasury Department said the Memorandum of Understanding, often called an MOU, has been litigated and determined to be a lawful application of Section 6103, which provides for information sharing by the IRS in precise circumstances. There's nothing precise about 7 million names and addresses. That's not precise. which provides information. Okay, blah, 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 blah. At a time when Dump is making threats to deport not only undocumented immigrants, but also U.S. citizens, the scope of information sharing with the IRS could continue to grow, according to documents reviewed by ProPublica and sources familiar with the matter. DHS has been looking for ways to expand the agreement that could allow Homeland Security officials to seek IRS data on Americans being investigated for various crimes. Last month, an ICE attorney proposed updating the MOU to authorize new data requests on people associated with criminal activities, which may include United States citizens or lawful permanent residents, according to a document seen by ProPublica. The status of this proposal is unclear. DeMello at the time rejected it and called for senior Treasury Department leadership to personally sign off on such a significant change. The White House described DHS work with the IRS as a good faith effort to identify and deport those who are living in the country illegally. ProPublica continues to degrade their already terrible reputation by suggesting we should turn a blind eye to criminal legal aliens present in the United States. Oh my God, for the sake of trying to collect tax payments from them. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson. Abigail, what the fuck is your deal? What are you pissed off about? Who hurt you? I'm amazed. Oh, I think I've heard her. Oh, she's the White House. This is her. This is Abigail. This is Abigail. She's the deputy press secretary, so she's not quite as special as Caroline. But she offers the brunette version. Okay. So that's her. White House after receiving questions about the blueprint. So she just attacked ProPublica. That's what she did. Yeah, small town gossip is real. I didn't really grow up in a super small town. I guess I didn't really I just never, and I moved too much to like become part of any like, small town type of community. But I still think it's wrong. I still think it's wrong. Yeah, this corner of YouTube, we try to keep it like small. She pointed to the April MOU as giving the government authority to create the new system and added, "This isn't a surveillance system. It's part of President Dump's promise to carry out the mass deportation of criminal illegal aliens, the promise that the American people elected him on and has committed to fulfilling." Sorry. In a separate statement, a senior DHS official also cited the court's approval of the MOU, saying that it outlines a process to ensure that sensitive taxpayer information is protected while allowing law enforcement to effectively pursue criminal violations. That's right. We're not going to abuse it. The new system would represent a sea change, allowing law enforcement to request enormous swaths of confidential data in bulk through an automated, computerized process. The system, according to the blueprint and interviews with IRS engineers, would work like this. First, DHS would send the IRS a spreadsheet containing the names and previous addresses of the people it's targeting. The request would include the date of final removal order, a relevant criminal statute ICE is using to investigate the individual, and the tax period for which the information is sought. If DHS fails to include any of this information, the system would reject the request. The system then attempts to match the information provided by the DHS to a specific taxpayer identification number, which is the primary method by which the IRS identifies an individual in its database. If the system makes a match, it accesses the individual's associated tax file and pulls the address listed during the most recent tax period. Then the system would produce a new spreadsheet enriched with taxpayer data that contains DHS targets' last known addresses. The spreadsheet would include a record of names rejected for lack of required information and names for which it could not make a match. Tax and privacy experts say they worry about how such a powerful yet crude platform could make dangerous mistakes. Because the search starts with a name instead of a taxpayer identification number, it risks returning the address of an innocent person, with the same name or a similar address to that of one of ICE's targets. I was starting to talk. Wait, what? She looks like what's her name? Huckabee. Oh yeah, Laura Loomer. Yeah. Whose birthday's next week? Oh, your little girl, your little one. That's cute. Because the search start. Oh, blah, 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 blah. The proposed system assumes the data provided by DHS is accurate and that each targeted individual is the subject of a valid criminal investigation. In effect, the IRS has no way to independently check the bases of these requests, experts told ProPublica. In addition, the blueprint does not limit the amount of data that can be transferred or how often DHS can request it. The system could easily be expanded to acquire all the information the IRS holds on taxpayers, said technical experts and IRS engineers who reviewed the documents. By shifting a single parameter, the program could return more information than just a target's address, said an engineer familiar with the plan, including employer and familial relationships. Engineers based at IRS offices in Lanham, Maryland, and Dallas are developing the blueprint. For decades, the American government has encouraged everyone who makes an income in the U.S. to pay taxes, regardless of immigration status, with an implicit promise that their information would be protected. Now that same data may be used to locate and deport non-citizens. Well, and citizens, it sounds like. For years, the IRS has told immigrants that it only cares that they pay their taxes, said Nandan Joshi, an attorney with the Public Citizen Litigation Group, which is seeking to block the data sharing agreement in federal court. By agreeing to share taxpayer data with ICE on a mass basis, the IRS has gone back on its word. The push to share IRS data with DHS emerged while Elon Musk's doggy reshaped the engineering staff of the IRS. Sam Korkos, a Silicon Valley startup founder with no government experience, pushed out more than 50 IRS engineers and restructured the agency's engineering priorities while he was the senior doggy official at the agency. Who's that? Sam Korkos. I want to see him too. None of you will be able to hide. None of you. Oh, yeah, he looks like a real peach. There's Joe or whatever. What I call him, Joe Korkus? Yeah, he looks amazing. A fucking nerd. A fucking nerd. Da 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 da. Where is he? He also led a separate. He later became chief information officer at Treasury. Oh my God. He has also led a separate IRS effort to create a master database using products from Silicon Valley giant Palantir. There you go, enabling the government to link and search large swaths of data. Korkos didn't respond. What's the matter? He is shy. The White House said Doggy is not part of the DHS IRS pact. What does that mean? That doesn't even mean anything. Senator Ron Wyden, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Committee on Finance, which oversees the IRS, told ProPublica the system was ripe for abuse. It would allow an outside agency unprecedented access to IRS records for reasons that have nothing to do with tax administration, opening the door to endless fishing expeditions, he said. The Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, the department's internal watchdog, is already probing efforts by Trump and Doggy to obtain private taxpayer data and other sensitive information, ProPublica reported in April. The Trump administration continues to add government agencies to its deportation drive. Doggy and DHS are also working to build a national citizenship database. I didn't read about that. NPR reported last month. The database links information from the Social Security Administration and DHS ostensibly for the purpose of allowing state and local election officials to verify U.S. citizenship. And in May, a senior Treasury Department official directed 250 IRS criminal investigative agents to help deportation operations, a significant shift for two agencies that historically have had separate missions. That's mission creep. That's mission creep. Want to talk about creep? That's mission creep. I'm going to talk to you about Joe Rogan and Epstein, too. Well, it's time for some coffee and some weed. Let's see what's happening with the crowd. With the peeps. I'm glad I can. She only lives half a mile. That's so great, Jim. It's so great to be around the kids. I'm telling you. My daughter spent a lot of time with my dad in later in his life, obviously. And it's such a great relationship. It was a great relationship. He passed, but I just am so grateful for the time that she had with him. So really, that's so wonderful. I think that's great. Really. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, she looks like Huckabeast. Sarah Huckabeast. I just, it's so interesting that the, uh, it is almost like it's the wiener picture, you guys. It's just the wiener picture. There's so much it's hard to even like nail down on one aspect of the fuckery, right? Like I don't know. It's just right. I'm gonna go to Reuters. Reuters. Going on to Reuters. Uh 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 uh. Oh, interesting. This is from Reuters. I'm going over the headlines. I just want to check and make sure I wasn't missing a big headline. But hold on, let me show you this. I didn't realize. Shooter in the New York skyscraper left a note blaming the NFL for a brain injury. I did not know that. Oh, God, people are in such pain, you know? So terrible. Oh, oh. What? Wait, U.S. and China resume talks to extend tariff truce by 90 days? What? Ugh. What pick are we talking about? What pick? It's nice your I know, he did. He did. He lived to like 89 or something like that. I can't remember. Oh no, he was like 86. Yeah, he was 86. He wasn't that old, but he was older. My grandparents raised me. Aw, Grace Lisa, I grew up sitting in bed with them, drinking hot milk with a coffee, and I still began every day. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Aw. I hope so too, Jane. It's so great. It's so great. I don't know what picture we're talking about. I'm sorry. Probably moved right on past it. I need some weed. It is. I need some weed right now. Need some weed. I need some weed. I need weed to deal with this world right now. Yes, the trade deals. Yes, we should talk about those. I don't know if I have anything pulled up on those actually, to be honest with you. Let me. Well, yeah, I'll look for it. Mm-mm. La, 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 la. I swear to God, sometimes my bookmarks like disappear and I don't even understand it. Oh, I'm gonna read that too. Okay. Okay, let's go to Joe Rogan. We'll do our little Epstein moment. Nowadays we have an Epstein moment every show because I'm not going to let go of the Epstein thing. God damn it. Yeah, I know. Taco. Exactly. This is so ridiculous to me. Ugh. Okay. Joe Rogan isn't letting go of Epstein, and that's a problem for Trump. This is from yesterday from CNN. Yeah, there's people who are mad about the Epstein stuff. They're not going to let go of it. Joe Rogan says the Trump administration's refusal to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein is a line in the sand. That's right. Good morning, Teresa. How are you? Epstein's name was mentioned more than 40 times on the most recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, which consistently ranks as the most popular podcast in the United States. I never watch it or listen. That's funny. I should probably watch it. I don't know. The episode was another instance of Rogan, who endorsed Trump on the eve of last fall's election, heaping criticism on his Trump administration friends, and another indication that the conspiracy coded Epstein controversy is not fading away. Hello. We are now entering week 4 of this scandal engulfing President Trump, largely because the outrage is coming from within Trump's normally steadfast circle of conspiracy-minded media boosters. You mean liars? And as arguably one of the most, if not the most influential of those figures, Rogan's criticism suggests Trump's headache will only grow from here. Rogan criticized the FBI and Justice Department's case closed memo from early July, asserting that the administration is trying to gaslight everyone. He predicted that it would not work. Referring to his own podcast conversation with FBI Director Kash Patel last month, Rogan said Patel's response about Epstein didn't make any sense. Then he's like, well, we have a film. We're going to release that film. And the film has a fucking minute missing from it, Rogan said, referring to a prison video that was meant to dispel theories about Epstein's 2019 death, which a medical examiner ruled a suicide. Like, do you think we're babies? Like, what is this? Rogan asked aloud. Rogan's guest, former CIA officer Mike Baker, said the government should release everything, a pithy phrase that has gained popularity in MAGA media circles this month. Government officials have pushed back on those demands by citing the explicit nature of the materials and concerns for the victims. Oh, really? Are they concerned for the victims? Because they didn't prosecute many people for it. On the podcast, Baker expressed bafflement at the way Attorney General Pamela Joe teased further Epstein-related revelations and then said that nothing more would be forthcoming. The mob wants to eat, he said, and they've been throwing red meat to the mob about Epstein files now for years. I'm going to tell you right now, that's it. That's it. That message right there. Oh, yeah, it's a total turnoff. Yeah. Yes, the girls, now women, are speaking out. Exactly. So why doesn't the Department of Justice talk to them? How about that? Rogan interjected, it's part of how they got elected. And now, Baker said, the mob is oddly bipartisan because it's got the Dems, too, referencing the Democratic leaders who have charged President Trump with a cover-up. The Rogan conversation reflects lingering questions about Epstein's crime and his accomplices, questions that have been hyped by right-leaning podcast hosts and other media personalities for years because it was given to them as the line. On Sunday, Fareed Zakaria pointed out that when Patel visited Rogan last month, Patel claimed that he has now found a secret vault. Oh, no. No. Really? I didn't even hear about this. Another superstar, I may have spelled her name, Dayla Fox. Oh, I haven't heard. Where, Teresa, did you say something else that I missed? I want to make sure. Thank goodness for YouTube's variable speed settings. Is that to go fast? Have you guys heard of the Democrat from Texas, James Tallarico? He's going to be a superstar. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, butterflies. I love that. Patel claimed that he has now found a secret vault in the FBI full of dark secrets no one has ever seen. Forget about Epstein, they seem to be saying. It turns out that there are hundreds more conspiracy theories to dangle in front of the MAGA faithful. What? Patel's deputy, Bingo Bongo, Dan Bingo Bongo, was roasted over the weekend for what might be dubbed dangling. He wrote on X about FBI investigations that have shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. While some of the people in Bingo Bongo's replies seemed persuaded and expressed enthusiasm to find out more, others accused him of pumping up another Epstein-style mystery that will never be satisfactorily solved. The country is not a reality TV show with cliffhangers and teasers. AEI senior fellow Robert Pendischio wrote on X, either tell people what has shocked you to your core or hold your tongue until you can. Anything else breeds suspicion, mistrust, and cynicism. No shit. Let's see what else I have. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about him, too. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this guy. This is for Paul and Gracia, though. Oh, no, it's Darren Beatty. Sorry, wrong one. Wrong one. Oh, yeah, I want to listen to some of these. Hold on. Pull this over here. Let me pull that over there. Yeah. Okay, another break. Another weed break. We do need young blood. And the thing is that there are so many good young, like I'll call them Democrats, but I really think we need to move away from, like the name Democrats. I think it's just dumb. I'm glad he went on Rogan. Great exposure. Yeah. Bingo Bongo is cryptic, so he can play both sides. Yeah, Bingo Bongo is panicking. Okay, he's a little panic baby. He's like the worst. I would never hire someone like Bingo Bongo because he would be like, I don't know. He's just a loose cannon. That's why I'm so amazed that that he is he's not fired. Like to me, he's the easiest fire in the world. You know, like I can't even. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. This one I wanted to play for you.
According to Facebook's estimates, more than 100.
Stop. Sorry. This is a piece from Longlead. I don't know. This was 13 hours ago, and I thought because the whole thing with Pamela Joe and her bringing up 2016 and Tulsi Gabbard and all that stuff. All right. And this is from this is a little bit that I found last night on the YouTubes. And here we go. Boop.
According to Facebook's estimates, more than 126 million Americans saw some of the IRA's propaganda. It's impossible to say what precise impact the trolls and hacks had on influencing voters and the media. But in a race as close as 2016 had been, everything mattered. For their part, the trolls at the Internet Research Agency felt that they had made an impact.
Whoa.
U.S. intelligence later found that on election night, the workers on the Translator project stayed up to watch the results come in. According to an intercepted communication, one employee later remembered, when around 8 a.m. the most important result of our work arrived, we uncorked a tiny bottle of champagne, took one gulp each, and looked into each other's eyes.
What?
We uttered almost in unison, "We made America great."
I think that someone even bothers to interfere, it should piss people off. But at the same time, we shouldn't give them more credit than they deserve. It's a lot easier to say, oh, the Russians did it, rather than to actually look internally, to be introspective and to say, we do actually have a lot of political division in our country.
What is this?
We have to take some responsibility. And
okay, I'm sorry. I apologize because that is the dumbest piece I've ever seen. Sorry. That is not what I wanted to play for you.
We begin today.
Okay, sorry. I'll do another piece with that. That was not Barfaroni. Yeah, that didn't really. That wasn't really what I was hoping it would be. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sometimes they're not great. Midas Touch has been beating Rogan soundly in listeners. I know, that's the thing, Karen. I'm surprised. Is Joe Rogan still the top? I think that Midas Touch is actually getting more, like, covering more ground, I guess. I thought they were really biting at Joe Rogan's heels, if not completely taking over. There's something in my DMs to laugh at. Oh, excellent. Let me go to him. Okay, this diaper diplomacy is pretty funny. I will give him that. I think I say to Europe. This is pretty funny. Okay, wait a minute. I get this is hold on. This is from Teresa. Okay, I love this part of AI actually makes me happy, and I understand that I shouldn't be enjoying it. I really do. But the cats that work at McDonald's and this kind of stuff is really giving me some life these days, and I've apologized for it.
And the other thing I say to Europe, we will not allow a windmill to be built in the United States. They're killing us. They're killing the beauty of our scenery, our valleys, beautiful plains, and I'm not talking about airplanes, I'm talking about beautiful plains, beautiful areas in the United States, and you look up and you see windmills all over the place. It's a horrible thing. It's the most expensive form of energy. It's no good. They're made in China, almost all of them. When they start to rust and rot in 8 years, you can't really turn them off. You can't bury them. They won't let you bury the propellers, you know, the props, because there's a certain type of fiber that doesn't go well with the land. That's what they say. The environmentalists say you can't bury them because the fiber doesn't go well with the land. In other words, if you bury it, it will harm our soil. The whole thing is a con job. It's very expensive. And in all fairness, Germany tried it, and wind doesn't work. You need subsidy for wind, and energy should not need subsidy. With energy, you make money. You don't lose money. But more important than that is it ruins the landscape. It kills the birds. They're noisy. You know, you have a certain place in the Massachusetts area that over the last 20 years had 1 or 2 whales wash ashore, and over the last short period of time, they had 18. Okay, because it's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy.
Did you see my new video?
Windmills will not come. It's not going to happen in the United States. And it's very expensive, and I would love to see. I mean, today I'm playing the best course, I think, in the world, Turnberry. Even though I own it, it's probably the best course in the world. Right? And I look over the horizon, and I see 9 windmills. It's like right at the end of the 18th. I said, isn't that a shame? What a shame. You have the same thing all over Europe in particular. You have windmills all over the place. Some of the countries prohibit it, but people ought to know that these windmills are very destructive. They're environmentally unsound, just the exact opposite. Because the environmentalists, they're not really environmentalists. They're political hacks. These are people that they almost want to harm the country. But you look at these beautiful landscapes all over the world. Many countries have gotten smart. They will not allow it. They will not. It's the worst form of energy, the most expensive form of energy. But windmills should not be allowed. Okay.
That's very cute. Oh my God, that's very cute. Oh, little baby diaper diplomacies. Oh wait, where was I? Oh no, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I was over here. Oh my God, that's funny. Thank you, Teresa. That is funny. Operation Let Him Talk. I know, Grace Lisa. I'm telling you right now. If you didn't see my little ditty, it's actually pretty good. I am. I'm trying really. I really, in my soul, I would love to like make music, but I also don't have the best like technical ability, to actually create videos. But I will tell you this, I did one. So hold on, I'm going to show you. Oops. I'm going to show you what I did. There we go. Here's my channel. All right, here we go.
They're noisy. You have a certain place in the Massachusetts area that over the last 20 years had 1 or 2 whales wash ashore, and over the last short period of time, they had 18. Okay? Because it's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy. It's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy. Now, it's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy. Now. It's driving them loco. Now. It's driving them loco. Loco. It's driving them loco. It's driving them loco. It's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy. Now, windmills will... Now, it's driving them loco. It's driving them loco. It's driving them loco. Loco.
Nice one. Get your DJ on. I know. I wish I could. I actually took a class once. I took a class with this guy in New York City. You know, like you do what was it? I don't even know what site I found it from. But I literally took like a little, like I met him at a Starbucks on like Union Square in New York City. And he literally, he was teaching me how to like DJ, like how to like set things up. And so I learned a little bit from him. And then I do play once in a while, but I'm never really good. I'm never really good at like really nailing those beats and stuff like that, or to create like the whole beat and it myself. So this is music from like Clipchamp or some Microsoft product. So I do steal the music that comes from those places, but I want to write my own. I'm telling you, where do you get all the music interludes and the jokes and the tears and the misdirected streams? Come on now. Where do you get your news? Don't you want news to be more fallible? Yeah, daily DJ segment. I'm in. Girl, I got shit for days. I got so much music in my account. It's terrible. I mean, not terrible, but great. Okay, speaking of terrible, I wanted to watch the Face the Nation interview with OMB Russell Vogt, one of the real architects of our destruction. But anyway, so yeah, here we go. Epstein moment and daily DJ. That's right. That's what we got here. I mean, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Today with the director of the White House Office of Management
there
and
he
Budget,
is, little
Russell
shithead.
Vogt. Welcome to Face the Nation.
Thanks for having me.
There's so much to get to with you. Let's start on what's going on with the Federal Reserve. If you take the president at his word, he does not intend to fire the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, though he's still criticizing him. What is the president seeking in a successor when his term ends in May 2026?
Well, I think he's looking for a chairman that's not
continually
too late to the developments in the economic marketplace. And I think what we've seen with Chairman Powell, he was very late in the Biden administration to raise rates, to articulate the concern with regard to the Biden administration spending. We all knew on the outside, even Larry Summers knew that we were going to have an issue with regard to inflation. And we saw, recent historical inflationary levels that we hadn't seen before. And now he is too late to lower inflation rates. And so that is the kind of thing that we want to see.
So what Russ is trying to say is that the inflation that we have right now, first of all, number one, it's Biden's fault. Never mind that inflation is an indicator, not of the past, but of the present and what's happening with prices, etc. Okay. So he's trying to say, number one, it's Biden's fault. And number two, it's Jerome's fault because Jerome isn't cutting interest rates fast enough. It has nothing to do with the wackadoodle policies of this bitch. And this guy's one of the architects of what's happening right now. So he's not just a pretty face. He's also a fucking demon. So that's him. Here we go.
See in the next chairman of the Federal Reserve. And one of the reasons why
is more of a focus on inflation.
Want an ability to recognize the developments in the economic marketplace.
So what Jerome Powell's job is to what does he say? He describes it a certain way, to maximize employment and minimize inflation. Or wait, what is it? Yeah, minimize inflation. That is his job, he says. So that's what the context is for these stupid comments. A not pretty face, yeah.
In this case, we want to be able to see lower rates and to have an ability to get the economy going. And one of the things we saw with Powell is that one of the reasons he was so late was because he didn't understand that inflation is largely a monetary phenomenon. He kept saying that inflation was transitory. He didn't tackle the problem. And now he's, again, too late. And you marry that with fiscal mismanagement at the Fed, it's a huge problem.
And the fiscal mismanagement at the Fed is his code for, I'm going to use that building project that we had a big show about, because he got Trump all spun up about that project, right? You saw that Trump went to the project and all that kind of stuff. Hi, Lee. Oh, yes. More trade infrastructure. Fuck yes, Lee. Wow, cool. Wishing you the best. Rates go down, cheap money for the ultra wealthy. They buy assets, you get poorer. Yep. I know, really. Yeah, he's a total douchebag. Yeah, check his backyard for dirt mounds. Agreed, Jane. Agreed. Good morning, Lee. Everyone's saying good morning to you. Yeah. Anyway, so they're trying to use this building as some kind of big albatross to hang around Jerome Powell's neck. It's kind of ridiculous. Grace Lisa, raise the minimum wage and give people more money to spend. I am telling you right now, Grace Lisa, it is so true. Like, if they would focus on getting people more money in their pocket, but that's absolutely never going to happen with this administration. This is like the antithesis of that. Like, you thought Democrats were bad at that? Oh, honey, hold my wallet, because these guys are worse at keeping more money in your pocket. It's about to happen. And I know that, Jerome Powell and the economists have been, very mild, I think, in their criticism. But the numbers are not going to lie. And the numbers are not going in the favor of this administration and their policy decisions. Because their policy decisions are going to be what causes the pain that we experience. Period. Full stop.
That we're trying to raise the country's awareness level with.
But as you know, the Fed is structured in a...
He just said we're trying to raise the country's awareness level of the fiscal mismanagement at the Fed. They literally just tell you what they're doing. They literally fucking tell you what they're doing. Ooh, good poll weather. Oh.
Way where he doesn't have unilateral control. There's a governing board, others weigh in. You did work on Project 2025, and we went back and looked at what they said in their About the Fed. As people may know, that's a Heritage Foundation product that got a lot of scrutiny during the campaign. The chapter on the Fed called for Congress to overhaul the Fed's focus and powers. Is that what you're looking to do in 2026?
I don't even know what that chapter says. All I do know that in terms of the president has run on an agenda.
Such horrible liars.
He's been very clear about that. All that we are doing in this administration is implementing his agenda.
You don't want to overhaul the Fed?
We want an economic system that works for the American people. That includes the Fed, and the president has been very clear that all he's asking from the Fed is lower interest rates, because he thinks that it's important when you look at across the globe and you have countries lowering rates, and yet we don't see that in this country given all of the positive economic indicators that we're seeing. And then we have fiscal mismanagement at the Fed with regard to this building renovation that I'm sure you will ask me about. Those are the kinds of things that we want to see from the Fed. This is not part of an existential issue with regard to the Federal Reserve.
Well, the Fed is indicating that they are trending towards a rate cut, though probably not as soon as this week. We mentioned those renovations at the top of the program, but I do want to ask about spending, or lack thereof, that the Trump administration is trying to direct. The White House said they will actually release the remaining $5 billion in education funds that had been withheld from public schools until recently. There were 10 Republican senators very worried about this and came out and said, your claim that the money goes to radical left-wing programs was wrong. What changed your mind? What made you release this money?
Well, we had been going through a programmatic review with these funds. These are programs that, as an administration, we don't support.
These are programs like money for low-income students. These are programs for English language learning students. That's what the money is that was held. Okay? God damn it. So what he's telling you is they don't support public education for all. And if you have a child enrolled in IEP with an IEP, individualized education program, or you have a child who goes through speech therapy, or I don't know, gets counseling like just like school counseling, not like counseling, like school counseling. Oops, I touched my thing. God damn it. These people are so evil. Like, I can't even tell you how vile and evil and just fucking craven for billionaires this is.
Support. We've called for the elimination of them in the president's budget for precisely the reasons of which they flow to often left-wing organizations.
What?
Thankfully, the president came.
Like after-school programs. So that kids don't have to go home. Yeah, don't touch your thing. Don't touch your thing on air. That's right. It's a good one, butterflies. Trump is going to double the national debt. Yeah, exactly.
Came into office, put an executive order that said these funds can't go to these types of initiatives. I'll just give you one example. English language acquisition was flowing to the New York School public education system to go into illegal immigration advocacy organizations. Preschool development grants doesn't actually.
Oh my God. 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 No, I was not touching my Humperdinck. I was touching the microphone. I'm just going to listen to that one more time.
Initiatives. I'll just give you one example. English language acquisition was flowing to the New York School public education system to go into illegal immigration advocacy organizations. Preschool development grants doesn't actually.
I don't know what he's talking about, to be honest with you, okay? English language learning goes into funding the teachers who are ELL or translators, right? There are times when I had Arabic translators and Spanish translators for my Yemeni kids and my kids from the neighborhood for all different backgrounds. I had ELL services for those kids to ensure that they were getting the education that they deserved. That's what the money goes to, okay? There's no extra money in a public school. There's none. There's zero. You are constantly cutting electives. You are constantly cutting programs and arts and other things so that you can provide services to everyone. And this money is specifically earmarked based on the number of students that you serve. It's a grant. This is so gross.
Go to preschoolers. It goes to the curriculum for putting CRT into the school.
That is a lie. This is a fucking lie. Is this treason? Like, is there any treason in here? Anywhere? Possibly?
System for children as young as 4 years old.
Well, the senator said it goes to adult learners working to gain employment skills and after-school programs.
And
so you deemed it is necessary.
We believe that it's important to get the money out right now, but we have taken an extended time frame to be able to make sure it doesn't go to the types of things that we saw under the Biden administration.
Because, Senator Lindsey Graham told the Washington Post the administration is looking
really
at
gross.
Considering
like, I don't know why people aren't. I mean, I don't know why I'm not in the street. Yeah, of course. No, the trans issue, they've already banned all.
Are you seeking to claw back education funds in a rescissions package? And if so, when are you sending that up?
We're always looking at potential rescission options. This is a set of funding that we wanted to make sure it got out. We did our programmatic.
The rescission, as I will remind everyone, is that the rescission is taking back money that was already approved to go to programs. Already. It already went through Congress. This should be wrong. You should not be able to rescission money unless it's like, a clerical error or something stupid like that, right? But you should never, this is money that's already approved based on our representatives. This is against the will of the people. That's what it is. It is against the will of the people. Tom, stop. Stop with the jokes about Lindsey Graham. I don't care about his sexuality. But anyway, stop. ISB. Yeah, they're going after preschoolers. It's so dumb.
Review. We wanted to make sure it got out before the school year, even though it's multi-year funding. This is not funding that would expire at the end of this year. We are looking to do a rescissions package. We're always gauging the extent to which the Congress is willing to participate in that process. Really? And we'll be looking at a lot of different options along those lines, but certainly have nothing to announce here today. But we're thrilled that we had the first rescissions package in decades, and we've got the process moving again.
So no rescissions package before September?
Look at him. He licked his
Not
lip.
here to say that. We're looking at all of our options. We will look at it and assess where the hill is, what are the particular funding opportunities that we have, but nothing that we're going to announce today.
Because some of the funds that do expire in September have also been held up on the health front. Senator Katie Britt of Alabama, 13 other Republicans came out with a letter saying that you've been slow in releasing funds for the National Institute of Health for research into cardiovascular disease, cancer. Are those funds going to be released? Again, we're going through the same process with the NIH that we did with the education. But there's a time
$2 million for injecting dogs with cocaine that the NIH spent money on, $75,000 for Harvard to study blowing.
This is like the, what do they call that? What do they call that syndrome where it's like, it sounds like something from The Office. What do they call that? Dunning-Kruger. Dunning-Kruger. He triggers me too. Dunning-Kruger. Like people who don't know enough about how things work and then judge how things work based on a weird, summation.
Lizards off of trees with leaf blowers. That's the kind of waste that we've seen at the NIH. And that's not even getting to the extent to which the NIH was weaponized
it's like an entire Dunning-Kruger
over the last several years with regard to funding, gain-of-function research
totally thinks like
that caused the pandemic. We have an agency that needs a dramatic overhaul. Thankfully, we have a great new.
Did you see how he snuck that in there? That the research caused the pandemic. It's shameless. Yeah, lies.
Ahead of it, but we're going to have to go line by line to make sure the NIH is funded.
Are you going to release the cancer funding research and the
We're going
cardiovascular
to continue to go to the same process that we have gone through.
He's not.
With regard to the Department of Education.
She basically was upset about the NIH
September that money will be released.
And we will release that funding when we are done with that review.
Because as you know, there's concern that you're withholding the money, hoping it just won't be spent. I mean, if you look at the White House budget, it does call for a 26% cut to HHS. $18 billion cut to NIH. Is this just a backdoor way to make those cuts happen?
Well, I don't want to speak to any specific program with regard to what we might do with regard to rescissions throughout the end of this fiscal year, but we certainly recognize that we have the ability and the executive tools to fund less than what Congress appropriated and to use the tools that the Impoundment Control Act, a law that we're not entirely thrilled with, gives us to send up rescissions towards the end of the fiscal year.
So just for our viewers, the Impoundment Control Act is the legal mechanism for the president to use to delay or avoid spending funds appropriated by Congress. You seem to want to have an argument, or Democrats think you want to have an argument, over the power of the person who holds it. Do you want that to go to the Supreme Court?
Well, look, for 200 years, presidents had the ability to spend less than the congressional appropriations. No one would ever dispute, and our founders didn't dispute, that Congress has the ability to set the appropriation ceiling. But 200 years of presidents, up until the 1970s, had the ability to spend less if they could find efficiencies or if they could find waste that an agency was doing.
That sounds like a yes.
We lost that ability in the 1970s. The president ran on restoring that funding authority to the presidency, and it's vital. If you look at when we started to lose control fiscally,
that's a yes too.
It was right around the time of the 1970s.
Well, many senators, Republican senators, are very uncomfortable with the tactics that you are using. Senators Murkowski, Senators Collins, that chair of the Appropriations Committee that is really running this funding process. And Senator Collins said you're pushing the limits of what the executive can do without the consent of the legislative branch.
Of the people.
You need to work with her to get your budget through. And in fact, you need to also be able to get Democrats on board to get to that 60 vote threshold to pass any kind of government funding to avoid a government shutdown at the end of September.
I have a great relationship with Senator Collins. I appreciate the work she does. She is the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, so obviously we're going to have differences of opinion as to the extent to which these tools should be used. I mean, she had concerns with the rescissions package. The rescissions package was a vote that Congress had to make these cuts permanent.
On a party line vote. She says, you want to go do these clawbacks, you do it through regular order, and you can put rescissions into an appropriation package.
But that was, in fact, under regular order. That's the challenge, is the appropriators want to use all the rescissions. They want to put them in their bills, and then they want to spend higher on other programs. We're $37 trillion in debt, Margaret. We actually need to reduce the deficit and have a dollar of cut go to a dollar of deficit reduction. That's not what the appropriators want. And it's not news that the Trump administration is going to bring a paradigm shift to this town in terms of the business of spending.
You would acknowledge that you just added to the debt and to the deficit with this tremendous...
No, I would not acknowledge that. We reduced the deficit.
The spending and tax bill that just passed.
Correct.
And you lifted the debt ceiling.
The debt ceiling is an extension of the cap on what's needed to pay your previous bills. In terms of the bill itself,
Russ, you're going to burn in hell.
It is $400 billion in deficit
Having
reduction.
People pull out your pubic hairs one by one, over and over and over
mandatory savings reforms, the biggest we've seen in history.
Well, I want to make sure I get to the rest of this before I let you go here, because we're running out of time. You said a few weeks ago that the appropriations process needs to be less bipartisan. You only have 53 Republicans. You do need Democrats to get on board here. Is saying something like that intended to undermine negotiations? Do you actually want a government shutdown?
No, of course not. We want to extend the funding at the end of this fiscal year.
Oh, really?
We understand from a math perspective we're going to need Democrats to do that.
So what does less bipartisan mean?
Well, Margaret, the whole week the Democrats were making the argument that if you passed the rescissions bill, that you were undermining the bipartisan appropriations process. So if Brian Schatz and every other appropriator is making that argument for a week,
of the Senate
making that argument, you have to be able to respond and say, if you're going to call a rescissions package that you told us during the month of January and February that we should use to do less spending, if you're going to say that is undermining the bipartisan appropriations process, then maybe we should have a conversation about that. That is all it was meant to convey.
But the alternative to this process is another continuing resolution, these stopgap measures. Are you open to that? Because that would lock in Biden-era funding. What is your alternative here? If you want a less bipartisan process, how do you solve for this? Because it sounds like you're laying the predicate for a shutdown.
We are not laying the predicate for a shutdown. We are laying the predicate for the fact that the only thing that has worked in this town, the appropriations process is broken. It leads to omnibus bills. We want to prevent an omnibus bill.
You just did an omnibus. You just did an omnibus bill. You just did an omnibus bill. No, Grace Lisa, they will never ask about all of that. This is the thing. There are so many things happening at once that and each of them have a real level of importance and gravity. And there's just, it's like Teresa said, it is 1,000 cunts. It's death by 1,000 cunts. Period. I will never stop saying that. Good morning, Val. I'm a late riser these days. I have my hands full with a stray kitten. Oh, the baby. Aw. A memo was leaked that Trump gets to use that jet when he leaves office. Tom read it in the Daily Beast. Oh, my God. Yeah, the Bannon way. Yep. It is 1,000 fucking cunts.
All options are on the table to be able to do that.
All options are on the table.
We need an appropriations process that functions. We're going to go through the process. We're going to work with them, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to use that process to have cheaper results for the American taxpayer.
Bullshit. That's bullshit, everybody, just so you know. And your children will not be educated And God forbid you have a child who has an IEP or an individualized education plan for special education. Yes, I hate Russ Vote and onions. That's going to be the shirt, Jane. I hate onions and Russ Vote, and not in that order. I hate him so much, Mama. Mama, ooh, I hate this man so much. Can you make him go away forever and ever? Yeah. Cheaper. It's not. This is such a lie. This man is so evil. This fucking little washed up hairy penis tip. Yeah, let's grill Russ Vote. And yeah, grifters, which we do need to. I need to get my shit together and do more of an economics show this week. I think I'll do that. I'll work on that. Because I think we need. I think we need to get back to a little fundamentals on where the economy is and all the stuff that's coming with the economy. Pig's breath is hated at DOD. Is that true? We'll get continued leaks from there. That's good. Isn't that terrible? Oh, it's so great that people will leak information. Can't believe that. Nothing about the current economic policy is for the betterment of the U.S. taxpayer. Tariffs, weakening of the dollar, pushing energy prices higher with these ridiculous trade deals. Absolutely. Yes, Tom, Gary's Economics. Yes. Gary's Economics is a great YouTube channel that explains a lot, but he always inserts himself and talks about what a prodigy he was at a young age. And so, frankly, if you could just speed through that part of every video that Gary does, where he brags about how smart he is, then you might get to the meat of the matter. And that's my personal take on Gary's Economics. I'm just saying. Sorry, Tom. It is a great channel, though. It is a great channel. All right, let's see what we got. I got something else here. I got a couple things here. I got a couple things for you. All right. Okay. All right. Da 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 da. You're having a lot of trouble watching TV. All the stations and channels, they're so propaganda that I've stopped watching everything except court cases. So thank you for watching. Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. Oh. If you have the open mic option, I'm sure there will be. Yes, Lee, I will. I wanted to make sure you knew that. I will have the open mic option, and I would love to hear whatever you want to share with us on Friday. That would be great. So I'll do some work ahead of time so that I'm smart for you. Sure, I will. Okay, I'll try. Let's put it that way. Okay, I wanted to read too about this because I'm kind of curious about how things are going in Iran. And this Pahlavi guy is just back and back and back. And so I picked up a couple things because Reza Pahlavi, if you don't know, is like the grandson of the Shah of Iran or the son. I can't remember. I don't know. I think he's the son. Anyway, so yeah, so Reza Pahlavi. Now the reason that he's in the news now, this is from June 21st, and I just thought it'd be a good piece on him. But the reason he's in the news now is that, yeah, we do. We need some snacks in there, huh? And the reason he's in the news now is because a couple days ago, he was at the Munich Security Conference talking about the fact that he's like trying to get people in Iran to revolt and put him in power. And so I thought we would read a little bit about him because I don't think he's going away. And I also kind of wonder, if the U.S. is interested in propping him up, right? So I think this is why we want to keep a half an eyeball on Reza Pahlavi to see if the U.S. is going to utilize him in any way to do a regime change in Iran. Just going to say it. Yeah, no onion dip. That's right. Hummus, yes. Oh my God, I just had some lemon hummus. It was so good. I'll have to get the brand because it's something, I got it at like a Gelson's or something. I can't remember, but it was really good. And it's not Sabra, which I think there's I think Sabra is problematic or something. I think it's like supports Israel or something. Can't remember. Oh, spinach dip. That sounds good too. God, you guys are making me hungry, and I'm trying to do like juice today. Anything on video? I'm not getting new info. I've already read about it. This includes Jim HCR. Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, and Heather. Oh, actually, we should check Heather Cox Richardson's and Jim's Substack before we leave today. Oh, lemon hummus is so good. Oh my God. Yeah. No, Neil. There's a bunch of people who love onions. No, you're not alone. Believe me, it's not a lonely place for an onion hater. I do like roasted red pepper hummus. I love hummus. Okay. The problem with Iran's Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. Pahlavi's anti-regime organization reflects his own hands-off political style, and he must impose some discipline to move forward. So this is a Middle East forum. Iranian Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi is, without a doubt, Iran's most recognizable opposition figure. Unlike the Mujahideen al-Khalq Mariam Rajavi, who imposes strict veiling and once sided with Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, he is an Iranian patriot. Well, some Iranians try to pin the excesses. Oh, this is interesting. So this is a pro piece. Oh, damn it. Although it is kind of interesting to hear. Oh, I thought this was different. I'm so sorry. Well, anyway, we're going to read about him. Hold on. Let me find that other piece I have. This piece is like a weird kind of like puff piece on him. I thought it was going to be more straightforward, but no. All right. There's plenty of other stories. Wow, he's getting a lot of press though. Like the Jerusalem Post and stuff have done like, and in Politico, the European version of Politico said exiled Iranian prince says 50,000 defectors have contacted him to help topple regime. 50,000. That's a lot. Let me see if I have this. Okay, I'll go ahead and read this one. This is from July 26th. Might be a little better. This is the European version of Politico, which Politico has its own problems, but we'll try and piece through it. Yeah, it's really good. I made garlic hummus this year out of garlic trimmings. Oh, interesting. Sounds good. My friend makes chocolate pudding with avocado. Oh my gosh. That sounds really interesting. You love the carrot sriracha hummus from Lantana. Oh, wow. I have not even heard of that. I will have to find that. It's hummus day. Yesterday it was onion day. Today it's hummus day. All right, here we go. This is from July 26. At least 50,000 officials from inside Iran's ruling government and military have registered. Oh, well, there you go. With a secure platform set up to coordinate the ousting of the dictatorship in Tehran, according to a prominent opponent of the regime. So that's kind of interesting. Why would you just advertise that you've all registered with this secure platform and put yourself on a list? Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of the last Shah of Iran, so he was the son, who was deposed in the 1979 revolution, announced a month ago that he was creating the channel for regime defectors to register and receive information on campaign tactics from his opposition movement. This seems like very insecure. Speaking to Politico, he said the numbers still needed to be fully verified, but his team was working to establish links with key elements in Iran's military, paramilitary, and security forces who would play a potential role toppling Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and working to establish a new secular state. Yes, I want to talk a little bit about Orzala. There's tens of thousands. The last estimate is over 50,000 at least, maybe more. Pahlavi, whose supporters refer to him as Iran's crown prince, said in a telephone interview. Every week we have additional numbers coming. Clearly we have to analyze the data. It's an arduous process. It will take some time, but the signals are quite strong. We have received a tremendous response, and of course we are giving top priority to key elements within those designated segments that I mentioned. That sounds like a boondoggle to me. He said a separate website will be launched for ordinary Iranian citizens to register their interest in joining the national campaign against the regime. This seems like a terrible idea. Yeah, he's old. This seems like an absolutely terrible idea. The cake was pretty good, actually, like a spice cake. Ooh, that sounds good. Pahlavi was speaking to Politico as he prepared to convene a conference. Sorry. Athletes? What? As he prepared to convene a conference of at least 500 opposition supporters, including activists, artists, and athletes, in Munich on Saturday. He says the conference will be one of the most diverse gatherings of anti-regime movements ever held outside the country since the revolution. That's him right there. Pahlavi has put himself forward to lead Iran's transition to democracy if the Islamic Republic regime collapses. His critics say he has not tried hard enough to unify groups within the Iranian opposition during his 46 years outside the country. Some say as an exiled member of Iran's last royal family, he would be the wrong person to take over again. Saturday's conference is intended to address some of those concerns and to strengthen the resolve of the regime's opponents inside Iran, who will be able to follow speeches online via illicit internet services such as Starlink, which have been smuggled into the country. The goal is to demonstrate that more than ever, we have a growing coalition of like-minded people who want to work together. Quite diverse, perhaps the largest gathering ever. Oh, he sounds like Trump, representing all factions within the Iranian political sphere, he said. All participants in Saturday's Convention of National Cooperation Conference support three key principles: preserving Iran's territorial integrity, the protection of individual liberties and the equality of all citizens, and the separation of religion and state. Iran resumed nuclear talks with European powers and Turkey on Thursday after the United States and Israel bombed the country's key military and nuclear sites in June. Pahlavi said Iran should not be trusted and warned that negotiations would just allow Tehran to play for time. Oh, is that it? That's it. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Let me see what else I have for you. Hold on just a minute. Oh, I kind of want to. Oh, here we go. Yes, this is a piece I have. Sorry. Let me just take a coffee break. Just dog a hole at his golf course. Oh, you know what someone said about Scots people that what they were doing? Oh my God, this is gross. Okay, so get ready. It's a poop reference. People are pooping in the golf holes at Trump's course in Scotland. I'm not kidding you. This came directly from a Scottish person. People are pooping in the golf holes at Trump's course in Scotland. And I know it's disgusting, but there's something really, really, really poetic about that. I don't know. It just was kind of like whatever. That really made me happy. Oh, this one I wanted to watch. Oh, well, speaking of Ursula, let's go ahead and get my girl crush on a little bit here.
This is a deal between...
Oh no, stop.
President Trump signing multiple executive orders.
Not what I
This
wanted.
is a deal between...
Okay, sorry. That was really very unwell done. Hold on. Let me do this and let me do that. Oops. Okay, that's that. And there's this and there's that. And there's that. And there she is. This is a deal. She has such a great German accent. I love her German accent. Yeah, disgusting but deserved. Yeah, absolutely, Val. That's a classic. I'm here for that. The Scots have been fighting him for years. They really have. Yeah, fuck golfers. It is a rich person sport. You're right. You're right, Max. Yeah. What a great idea though, right, Max? I mean, it's like a fucking perfect idea. Like I think it's great. For watch for poop. Okay, so here's Ursula. This is from I think yesterday. I can't remember. But anyway. Yeah, here we go. Enjoy her. Enjoy some intelligence for a minute. Margrutta's secret squeeze, that's right. They're having an illicit affair. They're not having an illicit affair, but wouldn't it be cute? It'd be kind of cute, actually. I would ship that. I would ship that. Okay, here we go.
Between the two largest economies in the world. We trade 1.7 trillion euros per year. Together, we are a market of 800 million people.
She's
and
bigger
we're
than us.
Nearly 44% of global GDP.
Wonderbar.
Just a few weeks after the NATO summit, this is the second building block reaffirming the transatlantic partnership. Allow me to go into some details. We have stabilized on a single 15% tariff rate for the vast majority of EU exports. This rate applies across most sectors, including cars, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals. This 15% is a clear ceiling, so no stacking, all inclusive. So it gives much needed clarity for our citizens and businesses, and this is absolutely crucial. Today we have also agreed on a 0 for 0 tariffs on a number of strategic products. This includes all aircraft and component parts, certain chemicals, certain generics, semiconductor equipment, certain agricultural products, natural resources, and critical raw materials. And we will keep working to add more products to this list. On steel and aluminium, the European Union and the US face the common external challenge of global overcapacity. We will work together to ensure fair global competition and to reduce barriers between us. Tariffs will be cut and a quota system will be put in place. We will also increase our energy cooperation. Purchases of US energy products will diversify our sources of supply and contribute to Europe's energy security. We will replace Russian gas and oil by significant purchases of US LNG oil and nuclear fuels. US AI chips will help power our AI gigafactories and help the US to maintain their technology edge. Today, with this deal, we are creating more predictability for our businesses. In these turbulent times, this is necessary for our companies to be able to plan and to invest. We're ensuring immediate tariff relief. This will have a clear impact on the bottom lines of our companies. And with this deal, we are securing access to our largest export market. At the same time, we will give better access for American products to our market. This will benefit European consumers and make our businesses more competitive. This deal provides a framework from which we will further reduce tariffs on more products, address non-tariff barriers, and cooperate on economic security. Because when the European Union and the United States work together as partners, the benefits are tangible on both sides. At the same time, we're building a true foreign economic policy. And for this, we have started at home. We're taking bold action to make Europe more competitive, more innovative, and more dynamic. Our single market with its 450 million consumers is our greatest asset and our safe harbor, especially in turbulent times.
She's bigger than us.
We're also creating new trade partnerships around the world, expanding from the 76 we already have. We've concluded negotiations in the last month with Mercosur, Mexico, and Indonesia.
Oh, there you go.
In an unsettled world, Europe is a reliable partner, and we will continue to deliver deals that help safeguard our prosperity. Finally, I want to thank President Trump personally for his personal commitment and leadership to achieve this breakthrough. He's a tough negotiator, but he is also a deal maker. I want to thank Commissioner Maros Šefčovič and his team for their tireless work and skillful steer They've done most of the heavy lifting. And I want to thank our member states for their trust and their commitment. Our unity is our strength at home and abroad. We will continue to work hard for the benefit of all Europeans. Thank you very much.
Commission President, could you give more details about the energy purchases you've committed to? President Trump used the figure of $750 billion. It sounds like a lot. Could you clarify about how that is going to manifest itself?
Yeah, it is divided into 3 years. So during his term, 250 per
billion a year.
And indeed, we still have
that doesn't seem like very
much Russian LNG that is coming through the back door again to our European Union, and some Russian gas and oil still in the European Union, which we do not want anymore. We want to absolutely get rid of Russian fossil fuels. And therefore, it is much welcome to purchase the more affordable and better LNG from the United States. And there, approximately, our estimation is that we can do 250 per year over 3 years.
President von der Leyen.
Paula, are you managing, please?
Mr. President, for European car makers, the tariff will now be 15% instead of 2.5% during the Biden administration. Do you think this is really a good deal? Will it be possible for European car makers to sell cars to the United States with this tariff rate?
Yes, we should not forget where we came from. Today they have 27.5% of tariffs to pay. It's the 25 plus 2.5. So there was a staggering of tariffs, and we came from that level down to 15%. 15% is not to be underestimated, but it is the best we could get. It's overall across the board. Important was for us it includes not only the cars, so go down with the tariffs for cars to 15%, but also all goods and semiconductor and pharma.
Yes, President von der Leyen, can you give some clarity on pharmaceuticals? President Trump said at the beginning of your meeting that this would not be covered by this agreement. We know that the Americans have been looking into pharmaceuticals under Section 232. Do you have an assurance that there's nothing more coming down the pipeline on pharma?
Yes, what the European Union is concerned, it's agreed that we have 15% for pharmaceuticals. Whatever the decisions later on is of the President of the United States, how to deal with pharmaceuticals in general, globally, that's on a different sheet of paper.
Yes, Madam von der Leyen, for Politico, I was wondering about the quotas on steel. What does it mean when the tariffs will be slashed? Does it mean there will be no tariffs even after the quotas? Can you give us some more details on that?
So it's basically going back to, like with the UK, going back to the historical quota. And creating a ring fencing to deal with the overcapacity globally that we see.
I also am interested by the overcapacity.
I just wonder, because actually the negotiations lasted for an hour. When I saw you at the start, I thought, it doesn't look like a happy couple, you two sitting there. So how were the negotiations actually in this last hour? Was it difficult, or was it actually just rubber stamping which already had been prepared?
No, it was very difficult because we started far apart from each other. It was tough, fair, but it was tough. And therefore, rightly so, you saw the tension at the beginning. So we had to work hard to come to a common position, and till the very end, as always in negotiations, you don't know whether you'll find the landing point, the landing zone at the very end, or whether it crashes. So it was tough, but in the end, as we were successful, it's good and it's satisfactory.
Okay. Because from us news agency, are you planning to sort of some measures for the economic sector in Europe most affected from the tariffs in the future?
So I think we should not forget where we would have been on the 1st of August. We would have been at 30%. And it would have been much more difficult to get down now to the 15%. 15% is,
she's actually right. I understand. She doesn't seem happy, but she's actually right. If you had allowed the 30%, the higher tariffs to go through as they would or supposedly would have, I don't know, Taco. If you had allowed that, producers, exporters, etc., retailers here would already have raised their prices to meet that 30% plus, right? And then bringing those prices back down, as we know historically, doesn't happen across the board. So those prices, that price increase that was from this particular tariff would be baked in to I wanted to talk about that steel overcapacity just to kind of get an idea of what that means in its most basic terms. But so I do understand the pragmatism. I mean, it's terrible that anybody is in this position and now prices are going to go up anyway. But I feel like it was an attempt to really stop or at least stop the bleeding a little bit on what retailers and what exporters would be doing with their pricing and then having to recoil that back, which, as we know, historically just would not happen across the board. So anyway, I find that interesting, and it's I do appreciate, we didn't hear anything about Joe Biden. She didn't blame whoever the last president of the EU was. You notice that? She doesn't blame whoever that was. She also doesn't talk about, windmills or wind turbines. I think she corrected him at one point and said they're wind turbines, they're not windmills. Somebody corrected him at one point. I can't remember who it was during this Scotland trip. But anyway, so I do appreciate her for that standpoint, although she's still just a capitalist like the rest of them, okay? So, we've got a ways to go, but here we are.
Certainly a challenge for some, but we should not forget it keeps us the access to the American market, and what we are also doing intensively is diversifying to other regions of the world. And this opens up new markets, potential new markets. Indonesia, for example, is huge. It's 250 million people.
I didn't realize that. 250 million
Mercosur
people
is a huge market, very like-minded countries. Mexico, for example, and others to come. We are intensively negotiating with India. So, yes, the tariffs for 15% are there, but we're trying also to open up other markets for European business.
Actually, I'll be honest with you, Dump has done a real favor to these large regions, of the world, because now it really does force them to negotiate with other countries and increase their trade. This is only going to make the world network stronger. So it's really interesting to me that Dump and his funders, the donors, I know the donors don't care. I know that Peter Thiel doesn't care, all that kind of stuff, because they've got a goal in mind. They're kind of executing on that goal. And it doesn't really matter what happens beyond the shores because they have the best military in the world. So they don't really need to worry about anybody really threatening their technate, right? So there's so many things I'm going to want to talk about. Obviously, on Friday, I want to talk about all the economic stuff that Lee wants to talk about. Anything that she's willing to share with us, I'll be delighted and drinking like a cool glass of water. But we need to talk about the whole nuclear push. We need to talk about the change to work life that is fast coming down the pike with AI and its generative AI and understanding that. I still want to understand more about stablecoin and how the whole economics of monetary policy are evolving. There's I think I'm going to work on that this week. I'm going to isolate what are the big topics that I want to kind of make sure that I'm getting some information down here. But yeah, it's just so interesting to me. So anyway, okay, sorry. Interrupted her again. Yeah, Bitcoin money laundering. Yeah. I don't know.
And last question. Commission President, you kind of say this is a framework deal. Trump says this is the end of it for a few years. Yeah. Where do we go from here and when? And maybe quickly on agri-food, the 0 for 0 deal, what does that include?
So framework means the figures we've just explained to the public. But of course, details have to be sorted out, and that will happen over the next weeks. Indeed, we're done. We have a deal for the years to come. That is very good. But also on agri, there were we were very clear that there were tariffs that could not be lowered. So that was clear from the very beginning, and therefore we maintain them. And this shows that we have to go in depth with other topics within the framework that I've described to sort out really the details in the next days and weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, from super smart to super not.
So I sat down with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to discuss the president's goals during this trip and news of a check that might be coming to your mailbox. Mr. Secretary, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Great to be here.
Fun fact.
August 1st, that deadline.
Fun fact. There's no check coming to you, Chuds. Okay? Because how in the world can we issue rebate checks if we're carrying a deficit? Doesn't that increase the deficit? Wait, or wouldn't that money be better spent paying down the deficit if you truly have money to spare? Wait, what? You're not getting a check, you fucking morons.
Is coming within a matter of days. Will there be any more grace period, any more extensions, and what deals are closest to getting done at this point?
Okay, so no extensions, no more grace periods. August 1st, the tariffs are set. They'll go into place. Customs will start collecting the money, and off we go. Obviously, after August 1st, people can still talk to President Trump. I mean, he's always willing to listen. And between now and then, I think the president's going to talk to a lot of people. Whether they can make him happy is another question, but the president's definitely willing to negotiate and talk to the big economies for sure.
The big
Okay,
economies.
so folks are nervous. We have brand new polling on that this week, and when we asked in our Fox News polling how people are feeling about things,
are nervous?
the president
Fox
is
viewers?
underwater by double digits on the economy, on inflation, and tariffs, and they may be reacting to reports like this one from the Yale Budget Lab, estimating that Americans now face the highest tariff rate since 1910, an average cost of $2,800 per household this year. So you keep saying Americans are going to love these deals. They're very skeptical and they're worried at this point.
Well, I think you'll see as they flow through the market. But what's going to happen is very few products are actually going to move their price. And basically $700, $800 billion. Maybe it's possible we get near $1 trillion of revenue.
Do you think there's a world where as prices go up or products just don't get exported from other countries, so there's less of them? Do you think people are going to buy more expensive? I mean, I know they will for some things, you know, like coffee, all that. But people are going to stop buying some of the disposable items that they normally would buy when they have disposable income. So that's the thing. It's not just about the tariff revenue. That I would imagine that tariff revenue would actually go down because people are buying less of those items. Because what they say they want is for people to buy American. So if you're doing that, then you're necessarily cutting the supply of items available for consumers to buy. That doesn't seem like it's helping people here. Because wouldn't you want to make it as easy as possible for people to spend money on anything? But you're actually lessening the number of products that they can spend money on. That doesn't feel like freedom.
Will come into the United States of America, reducing our deficit.
What do I know?
And what do you think is paying for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security?
There is nothing in the big, beautiful bill that talks about Social Security taxes being reduced. I don't believe that was in the final version of the bill. The tariffs, or excuse me, the taxes on tips is for cash tips. So if somebody puts your tip on a credit card or a debit card, you're fucked. You don't get to write off the tax on that tip, baby. And it's up to $25,000. Hi, Kim. How are you? Good to see you. Sorry I didn't say hello when you came in. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just going to say. And then the overtime, I don't know what the restrictions are on the overtime, but I imagine there's some restrictions on that. So I wouldn't worry, because they put $25,000 on the other, and it's only the cash tips. Only the cash tips. Okay? If you're a waitress or a waiter and you're in, you know, you're getting your thing on, people have to pay in cash. So there you go. Max, if the new Fed lowers rates and buys U.S. Treasuries, it will lower mortgage rates, but a little lag, so wealthy can swoop in and buy before first time gets buyers. They think tariffs are free money. Exactly, Lee. Exactly. They are costs that importers paid and will look to recover from someone. That's right, Lee. And Lee knows because she works in that industry. She knows about trade. Yeah, I don't carry cash either. Yeah, it isn't no tax on Social Security. Oh, it's a bonus standard deduction for seniors. Okay. Well, that's probably not going to be equivalent to whatever taxes you pay, so forget about that. It's just all a boondoggle, kids. Sorry.
Right? These are the monies that are going against that. So I think if you take a look at the whole thing, it's going to be fantastic.
Okay, so looking at a PolitiFact report, they cite the congressional budget.
Hey, Howard Nutlicker, didn't you live next door to Jeffrey Epstein? Why, yes, you did. Why, yes, you did. That's right. Nutlicker's on the list too, babes. Nutlicker's on the list. He lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein in Manhattan. Okay. So talk about fantastic. You know what's going to be fantastic, Howard? Seeing you do time for child rape in prison. That's going to be fantastic. This is why the list can't come out. It's not just about dumpy dump. Okay? There's a few people in the administration that have an Epstein problem. It's not just dump. And Nutlicker is one of the biggest ones. He's one of the big whales when it comes to Epstein. You heard it here. Okay, here we go.
Office, which I know you guys feel like does not take in all of the necessary growth factors and those kinds of things. But they say this, an analysis by the CBO projects that 10 years of tariff revenue increases under Trump won't pay for the added deficits from his bill, meaning the one big beautiful bill, or the cumulative deficits over the next decade. The projected added deficit from the bill is $3.4 trillion. On top of the existing projected deficit over the next decade of $21.8 trillion. They say the tariff math doesn't add up. Your response?
So the tariff revenues are amazing, right? $700 billion a year. That's just net new money the government never had before. So you take that every year for 10 years, that's $7 trillion. And then what they're not counting is the way the president is smashing open these markets. You got every market, right? Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, you name the deal he does, and he opens that market. That's going to have export growth, right? Never before has our ag and our industrials actually had access to these markets. You know, we're meeting later today with the European Union. You know, the president's goal, get those markets open for Americans to export to them. And that growth is going to pay for everything. It makes Americans richer. And, of course, our tax revenues go up the right way by Americans making more money by winning in business.
So that EU meeting, everybody's going to be watching to see what comes from that. The president has said at this point he thinks it's a 50-50 odds that you'll actually get a deal done with them. The Wall Street Journal reports this. The EU has prepared retaliatory tariffs that could affect more than $100 billion worth of U.S. goods in case a deal isn't reached. Where do you put the odds, and what's the impact on the U.S. economy if that happens?
Well, look, the president of the EU is coming to meet President Trump. So when the president puts the odds at 50-50, those are the odds. Look, Europe needs to make a deal and wants to make a deal, and they are flying to Scotland to make a deal with President Trump. The question is, do they offer President Trump a good enough deal that is worth it for him to step off of the 30% tariffs that he set? If they offer him the right deal, which is opening their markets and really negotiate with him the right way, you know, they're hoping they make a deal, and it's up to President Trump, who's the leader of this negotiating table. We set the table. The team sets the table, but Donald Trump does his negotiations by himself. And if you watched him do the Japan deal, it was a masterclass. One of the most enjoyable afternoons I've ever had watching Donald Trump negotiate with the Japanese. It was so fun.
Well, it's definitely one of the feathers in the cap of trying to get these deals done. The Fed chair, Jerome Powell, who had some one-on-one time with the president this week, has indicated it's uncertainty about things like these tariffs that make it less likely that there's going to be another a rate cut until there is some stabilization in the markets. Does that lend an urgency to getting some of these deals done? And how upset do you think the president will be if there's not a rate cut this week?
Well, it makes no sense. I mean, the president's bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars, reducing our deficit. How can that not be the underpinning for us having less debt and lowering rates? It just doesn't make sense, you know? So think about that. You're bringing in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of revenues. That's a benefit to America. That should drive rates down because we're going to borrow less. August 1st is coming. It's coming in a week. And therefore, our revenues are going to continue to rise, but they will not bring inflation. You haven't seen it so far, right? The whole world is paying 10%, right? And China is effectively paying 55%. And what happened last couple of weeks ago? 2.6% inflation moved all the way to 2.7. Ooh.
Okay, well, listen,
Howard,
you mentioned China. That is a
dick.
big part of this puzzle. They're our biggest trading partner. We know that Secretary Bessent, along with your efforts, he's going to be talking to the Chinese this week to try to get something done. Part of that deal apparently seems to be there will be pressure on them to stop doing things like buying oil from sanctioned countries like Iran and Russia. How heavily will the administration lead into that? And do you think they'll stop doing it? Does this deal come together with them?
Well, you know, China is such a giant economy, one of the top 3 economies on this earth, right, with Europe, and obviously the big player, of course, the United States of America with its $29 trillion economy. But Secretary Bessent and Donald Trump have spoken together. They know exactly how they're going to play it. Secretary Bessent is heading over to Stockholm to see his counterparties from China, and they're going to discuss it and work it out, and I'm going to leave their conversations between them.
Well, you have said, too, that if a deal doesn't get done, that TikTok may go away. There have been several extensions on that as well.
Wait, what?
How does all of that
China.
factor into something that, you know,
if you
millions
don't
of
sell
people
it to
here
Mark
in the U.S.,
Andreessen,
especially the younger generation, very much care about TikTok not going away?
I mean, the president really likes TikTok, and he said it over and over again because, you know, it was a good way to communicate with young people. But let's face it, you can't have the Chinese
on TikTok
have
matters.
an app on 100 million American phones. That is just not okay. So it's got to move to American ownership. It's got to move to American technology, American algorithms. And if the president can get that done, and, you know, I don't know if they'll be discussing it or not. I'll leave that, as I said, I'll leave that to Secretary Bessent and President Trump to decide how he wants to play it for this meeting on Monday. But I know the president is positive towards TikTok if it can move into American hands.
All right, really quickly, because we got to go, I want to ask about this idea that the president sort of floated before he took off for Scotland. He said there might be this idea of a rebate out to some people. He said based on people with a certain income level, it might be very nice. What's that all about?
Well,
yeah,
I
what's
think,
that all about?
You know, the president's feeling that this tariff policy is working great.
Mark Andreessen,
and it
Tom.
arms him with the ability to do things that no president has ever done. And you know the president, which is he's the most transparent president ever. And if he thinks it, he's willing to talk about it and discuss it with the American people. That's what makes him special. So as he thinks about things, he'll flush them out. You know, he gives press conferences almost every day. So you can always ask him another question and another question. But he's feeling very, very strong because because his tariff policy is working. I mean, look at that Japanese deal, the Japan deal, where they gave President Trump $550 billion, more than $500 billion to invest in our national security infrastructure, funded by the Japanese government to reduce their tariffs all the way down to 15%. I mean, talk about a tariff policy that works.
All right, so maybe some other buy downs coming as you try to get these other deals done. Secretary Letnick, always appreciate your time, and we'll watch for the results of your meetings there.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear you say goodbye, Howard. We hate you. Oh, by the way, Howard, we hate you. Yeah, I kind of want to play, before we end today, I want to play this piece from Ann Applebaum. It's 40 minutes, so it's kind of long, but I think it might be very, very interesting. Yeah, fuck the grandiosity it's so amazing. Yeah, and wait about insurance and other things. And the U.S.-India deal is on shaky ground. That money is on paper. Yeah, exactly. Ugh. I wanted to read, actually, before I get to that one, I'm just going to take I'm going to read something to you. Read to me, read to me. Oh, please, Mama, read to me. Okay. Speaking of Japan and what Lee just said, which is there is no Japan deal. Thank you very much. So there you go. Yeah, where's the money going, Grease Lisa? That's what I want to. I've been buying everything but shoes, socks, underwear, and mattresses buying everything for decades. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And that's it's so much better, just to kind of like, I don't know, try to reuse and things like that. It is laughable. There's nothing positive. That's right. Lee nails it. Lee is really UK-India also signed a trade deal, a real deal. So see, that's the thing. The world is not waiting for us to get our shit together, nor should they. They're going ahead and doing whatever it is they need to do in order to continue doing business. It's fascinating. All right, let's read a little bit about this. This is from Reuters. U.S.-Japan trade deal guarantees lowest tariff rates for chips pharma, Japanese official says. Let's see. Japan's leading trade negotiator said on Tuesday. So this would have been yesterday. Oh yeah. So is that today? I don't. Oh yeah. That's. Oh my God. Me and dates and details. Holy fuck. Yikes. Okay. Japan's leading trade negotiator said today that the trade deal Tokyo agreed with the United States last week guarantees Japan will always receive the lowest tariff rate on chips and pharmaceuticals and all the pacts negotiated by Washington. If a third country agrees with the United States on lower rates on chips and pharmaceuticals, those lower rates would apply to Japan, Ryosei Akazawa told a news conference. Is that it? Oh, yeah. The European Union secured a 15% baseline tariff as part of a framework trade deal with the U.S. this week, averting looming new tariffs on chips and pharmaceuticals. Japan last week struck a trade deal with the United States that lowers tariffs on cars and other goods to 15% in exchange for a U.S.-bound $550 billion Japanese investment package, including equity, loans, and guarantees. Asked why there has been no joint statement on the agreement, Akazawa said Japan is prioritizing having Dump sign an executive order to bring the new 15% tariff rate into effect. So they want to see him actually do it. We want to concentrate our efforts on getting the tariffs lowered first, and then we can consider whether an official document on the agreement is necessary, he said. I'm sorry. That's just it's not funny, but it's just really crazy. All right, let me see. I can't anymore with these people. Oh, I was going to look at the indicators. This is one of my favorite websites, tradingeconomics.com. Great one-stop shop for indicators from all over the world, actually. You can look at all of it. Tom Bowles, Stellantis reports losses of almost $2 billion because of tariffs. Yep. What's sad is which companies, either a mom and pop or big chain, have increased prices to be dicks and not due to taxes and tariffs. Yeah, that's true, Kim, and there's a lot of that already. There's a lot of that already. Most mom and pops operate on a very slim margin. They can't eat the cost. This is so dumb. But in terms of the indicators, this is a real-time update. So July, let's see. Let me show you the GDP growth rate. That's not a typo. The GDP growth rate in March of 2025 reporting, that's the last report. I suppose that's a quarterly one, is negative 0.5%. That's our GDP growth rate right now. Well, of course, it's like the annual growth rate is 2. Well, let's put it at 2. The actual GDP. So GDP at 2, down from 2.5. Okay, we went down 0.5 percentage point, the growth rate, to 2. Unemployment is still hovering around the same. It was at 4.2 in June. It was 4.1. So we'll get July this Thursday. Let's see. Inflation rate went up, just as Howard had to admit. They had to admit it. Inflation was 2.4% measured, and then in June it jumped to 2.7. So that's the wrong direction. I'm really fascinated to see if and when layoffs start to happen in different sectors, like the retail sector or other things. I'm just curious about that, whether or not that starts to have an impact on employment levels. I mean, what they say is that it will, and that there will be more unemployment, and that's one of the reasons I guess the Fed hasn't lowered rates. We should kind of get an overview of how those things kind of interrelate, because I'm never entirely sure. Let's see. Balance of trade. Oh, this is always a good one because they are always so excited about it. Okay, so balance of trade. It was negative 60.26 in April. And then in May, it dropped to negative 71.52. So we have a bigger trade deficit with the world than ever before. Not kidding. Not kidding. Let me see if I can get, what is the, okay, wait. Prices, money. Prices, yeah. Okay, Consumer Price Index. So previously, in June, it was 321, I guess. I don't know how these numbers measure. And now it's 323. So prices went up. Core consumer prices up. Producer prices stayed the same. Let's see. Food inflation went up. Import prices stayed the same. Export prices stayed the same. The other one I was looking at. Yeah, so this I'll drop this in the description, but it's a kind of a good one stop for a lot of different things because it goes into great detail, by sector, and shows you stuff. So that's pretty good. Building permits, housing starts went up, actually. Housing starts went up in June. So there you go. New home sales went up a little bit. Pending home sales went up a little bit. Existing home sales fell. That's interesting. So anyway, it is very fascinating to me. I highly recommend. Highly recommend. Highly. Okay. Oops. Okay, what we're going to end with today is a long piece. It's 40 minutes, so you're not going anywhere fast. But it's far more interesting than me just, barking at you. The price of a right-wing asshole fucking off is the same. It's still free. That's a good one, Carla. I really like that. Regarding stock market, I can't stomach the tennis game watching and waiting for drops. I know, Kim. You know what? I feel that so much right now. No, are you okay, Badge? Don't be getting sick. My Wi-Fi was buffering, so I had lunch. Fried zucchini. Yum. Or friend zucchini. Retail and restaurant, never a good business. Yeah, hard. Really hard. We can't grow our way. Yeah, the debt's too high, and it's going to get higher because somehow with cutting the budget, they managed to spend more. Huh. How does that happen? How do you cut the budget? How do you cut the budget? You know, you rescission all this money. How do you cut all that and then claim that, or then actually end up adding to the deficit? I don't get that. Like, isn't that fraud, waste, and abuse? I'm so confused. Like, somebody needs to explain that to me. Yeah. Yeah, it would. It would be great, Grace Lisa, if people used this and said, but wait a minute, what about XYZ? I can't tell you what's happening here. Beverage store, great business. People drinking, good times are bad. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh my God. Yeah, but nobody can afford it. What happens then? I don't know. Well, you know what? We're going to break it all down for you here on Lolo's Lounge. That's right. I said it. Let me make this a little bit smaller. That's so overwhelming. We don't need it so huge. Okay, and let me do a programming note before we get into this. The programming note is that tonight we are having Documentary Tuesday. Documentary Tuesday at oh, I really want to read that. Documentary Tuesday tonight, and we're going to do the what's that eugenics? It's a Frontline. Yeah, the eugenics crusade.
About
shit. God damn it. Okay, anyway. So, just so you know, we're gonna be oops. Okay. Tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, everything inside and out. We're going to be watching the full documentary American Experience, PBS. It's called The Eugenics Crusade. It's from a year ago, but I want to watch it and see what it's all about. So tonight, documentary, look for it on my socials. I'll post it after this, and then blah, 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 blah. I'm going to make a t-shirt that says, I love lunch. I think that's a great idea. I love lunch. All right. Let's get into this. And Applebaum. And this is Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle. You know, it's a German news outlet. And this is more of an in-depth interview that they do from time to time. So it should be fine that I'm showing it. Tom Mag has been posting a chart about prices rising in 2025, but ignoring the continued rise after Biden. The one line that dropped is alcohol. Yeah, I didn't check gas prices or anything like that, and egg prices, the famous egg prices. Anyway, all right, so let's listen to Ann Applebaum talk about shit. The lunchy bunch, the lunchy bunch. All right, here we go. Whoops, no we don't. Now we do.
Welcome to Deutsche Welle Trendy program.
Thanks for having me.
First question is about something that happened pretty recently. Senator Lindsey Graham said that he played golf with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump told him, allegedly, that it's time to impose these mega sanctions that are waiting in the Senate on Russia. Do you think that something really shifted in Washington?
Meowing star.
So
hello.
I can't predict how Donald Trump will behave or react in any given moment because he isn't someone who has a strategy. He doesn't think geopolitically, he doesn't think strategically. He makes decisions on the spur of the moment depending on who he's speaking to and whether he perceives himself to be winning. It's true that the Senate, Graham and more than, as I understand it, 80 other senators are willing to sign a bill that would increase sanctions pretty dramatically. And it's true that some people around Donald Trump want him to do this, but he has other forces and other interests around him too. There are people around him who want him to do a deal with Putin because it might be personally, financially beneficial to themselves or maybe to the president. There are people in the MAGA movement who are actively pro-Russian, and so we'll just have to see who wins the argument.
You seriously think that Donald Trump could sign some kind of deal with Vladimir Putin, which will be also personally beneficial to him? In which way? Money or?
Well, we know such things have been proposed, or we're rumored that such things have been proposed. But of course, no, I don't know whether he would do that or not.
Why Trump is so patient with Putin? He knows him since quite a long time. He was president already and he dealt with him. Why is he so gentle with Putin until now? What's your explanation?
People have been asking this question for a decade. Right. There was a major investigation during Trump's first presidency into the sources of Russian influence on the Trump campaign, and it wasn't inconclusive. It showed that there was influence, but they were never able to prove that Trump was criminally involved, or that there was a criminal involvement.
Yesterday, Badger.
We know that Trump has had Russian connections for more than 30 years. He's had Russian investment into his business. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is all documented. We know that he has had positive thoughts about Russia. We know he's felt very negative about U.S. alliances for a long time. It's in his books from more than a decade ago. It's in the 1980s, he took out big newspaper advertisements arguing that the U.S. was wasting money on alliances. So all these instincts have been in place even before Putin came to power. So, since he's in power, Trump is someone who's very impressed by people who operate without checks and balances, without restrictions, without courts, without journalists. He admires that kind of power. So my guess is that he's positively disposed to the Russians anyway, and that he's personally impressed with Putin. I don't know, obviously, what their personal interactions are like, but Putin is a trained KGB officer. He would know how to find somebody's weaknesses and somebody's he would know how to find the way to manipulate someone and persuade them that he's his friend. Certainly it's the case that Trump believes Putin to be his friend, and he has said that, he's used that word.
Isn't it just a way of telling his own audience that he controls everything? Can he seriously believe that Putin be his friend?
I think he seriously believes that. He doesn't use that word about other people. I mean, he doesn't use it about other leaders, but he does use it about Putin.
Your guess, what will happen if Trump realizes, or if Putin behaves in such a way that Trump will have to realize there's going to be no deal on Ukraine, on whatever, with Putin? What's going to be the consequence?
Well, we are at that moment now. So the Russians have never said that they want a deal. They have never said they want a ceasefire. They have never said that if we give them Crimea, they will stop the war, which is the idea that many think tank writers and journalists and statesmen seem to believe. They've never accepted that as a possible ending to the war. That not only have they not stopped fighting since Trump came to office, recently the Russians have actually increased their attacks, especially on civilians, on cities, on civilian infrastructure, on Kiev, on Dnipro, on Kharkiv. So they show absolutely no signs whatsoever of wanting to end the war. And Trump, I mean, this has been obvious for many days. Trump has still not reacted. So you tell me. I mean, I don't know what will he do if the Russians don't begin to end the war. He's doing what he's doing now, and he's doing nothing.
Yes, Max.
It's interesting that many people were saying that Trump does not have empathy, that it's not part of his psyche, of his character. And then we see him speaking to a Ukrainian journalist during a press conference in The Hague after the NATO summit, and suddenly he seems quite warm and disposed and empathetic. What do you think that maybe something moved him psychologically recently?
That's a dumb question.
I could not have any way of answering that. He clearly has no empathy for many people. He speaks of his opponents as vermin. He talks about immigrants in the United States as poisoning the blood of the nation, this is the language that Hitler used. So he's somebody who is very immune to cruelty and not bothered by civilian casualties. So I doubt very much that one incident has changed him, but who knows?
Putin, there are debates about, especially in this sort of Russia watchers community in it, what are Putin's ultimate goals in Ukraine? How do you see them? Is it conquering the whole of Ukraine? Is it putting a puppet government in Kiev and having it as a protectorate, essentially? Is it destroying NATO? Is it all three? How do you see his strategy?
So I think Putin has three goals in Ukraine.
And he has strategy, as opposed to Trump.
Putin absolutely has a strategy. So he has three goals. They overlap a little bit. Number one is an imperial goal. He would like to resurrect the Russian Empire, with himself as the leader of it. This will be his role in history. And towards that end, he would like to see Ukraine, whether it's a puppet government or whether it's fully part of Russia, I don't know, but he would like to erase Ukrainianness. He would like Ukraine to cease to exist as a nation. And he would like Ukraine to be one way or another incorporated back into the Russian Empire. And as I say, whether in what format that is, I don't know that it really matters. His original goal, as we know, was to conquer Kiev in 3 days and take the rest of the country in 6 weeks. And that was the plan. That plan has failed. So now we're on plan B, which is to undermine and destroy the country as much as possible. So that's his first goal. His second goal is to destroy the set of ideas that propelled the Ukrainian Revolution of 2014. So this was when he saw the Maidan of that year. This was people waving EU flags and carrying slogans against corruption and calling for the end of an autocratic president who was pulling Ukraine in the direction of Russia. When that revolution succeeded, and in other words, when President Yanukovych fled the country, this for Putin was a kind of alarm bell, because this, of course, is the kind of revolution that he is most afraid of. You know, it's the kind of revolution you almost had in 2010 or 2011. The language of anti-corruption is the language that Alexei Navalny used. This language of not just of democracy, but rule of law, transparency, accountability, anti-corruption, this is the language that's most damaging and dangerous to him. And he sees Ukraine, the need to destroy Ukraine is also partly about destroying that language and the appeal of that language in Russia. So it's also in his idea, it's a kind of war of ideas. The third element of it is global. I mean, Putin does have a geopolitical strategy, and his strategy is to undermine the international law and rules of the world as they were established after the Second World War. So, UN Charter.
Not even after the Cold War, after the Second World War.
Mm-hmm. No, the UN Charter that was which guarantees sovereignty of nations, you know, in their borders. Geneva Conventions on warfare. Warfare is not supposed to be aimed at civilians. UN Convention on Genocide, which means that you're not meant to cease to destroy or undermine the existence of a nation. All these things he would like to show that they don't count it for anything, they don't mean anything. He can destroy them and undermine them with impunity, and he can get away with it. And that's, of course, he sometimes speaks, I mean, it's a little bit vague, but he talks about the multipolar world that he wants to live in. Multipolar is either a word that means nothing, really. I mean, clearly a multipolar world where there are many powers, obviously that's what we have. But I think he means something different. He means a world in which might makes right, and in which strong countries can invade weaker ones and big countries can dominate smaller ones, and that this is the world he would like to inhabit, not one where these rules and UN and US and other things stand in his way. So these I think are his goals. I mean, personal, you know, political, but also global.
Isn't it a paradox? Because in a multipolar world, Russia will not be the strongest pole. If you compare it to, let's say, China.
Or India.
Or the United States. So why do you want it?
Well, he's building up his military. He's, you know, he's creating new areas in which he has power. I mean, the power of the influence campaigns that the Russians run, in which they really, you know, they began the idea of a kind of using the internet for global influence to destroy and undermine and divide their neighbors. I think he imagines that he'll have a big role, especially if he can conquer Ukraine and take Ukraine's resources.
Which campaign, in your view, of these influence campaigns, or many, of course, which was the most successful for the Kremlin?
It's hard for, there are no precise measurements. I mean, I think, the campaign to build up and help create the AfD in Germany, this is very successful, given that it, what large support it now has. But, there have been Russian attempts to influence elections in Britain, in France, the Brexit campaign in the UK. I don't give full credit to the Russians for doing these things. And the Brexit campaign was indigenous, and it was mostly British. I mean, so I don't think the Russians have this decisive role, but they certainly put money and effort and thought into expanding some of these campaigns. And of course, they campaigned to elect Donald Trump in 2016.
Which is the issue.
All these influence campaigns, whether it concerns the right or
I'm just going to say it again because this is my reason for living. This is my raison d'être. It is that disinformation is the problem. I understand all the babble about the end of liberalism and all the cycles that historically blah 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 bric-a-brac. I respect all of that. However, I'm just going to say it again. Disinformation is the one thing that we have not attacked full on that would stop the majority of the mind fucking that's going on. Sorry, yeah, it's Deutsche Welle, Jane. Sorry about that. Okay? That is my point. My point is that we don't address the fact that people lie in real time on TV, on YouTube, on everywhere, on the internet all the time, and it very rarely gets a loud response. It gets a response, but it doesn't seem to permeate the ether, if you will. And the disinformation is allowed to really just be suspended in time so that chuds can feed off of it and it re-engages their base. So it's really, I really feel this country is missing an opportunity to just daily say, this is the disinformation that came out today. This is the headline. Disinformation, disinformation, disinformation. Because what they're doing is giving you factual information, like when Howard Nutlicker says something like, it's going to be fantastic. That's a feeling. And what these folks are doing is mixing in the disinformation with a lot of activating, emotional, feelings-based language. Right? Exactly. So it's really just not attacking the core, brainwashing. You're right, Kim. Brainwashing like that, it is very hard to stop. But I can't help but feel that if we collectively really put that the conventional wisdom was more around the fact that was disinformation than the disinformation itself. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah, so there, it just to me is such a missed opportunity. We're going to go on with this interview, which is a great interview. Exactly, because this is why it's so difficult to debate people on the topics, because it regresses into this feelings language with disinformation mixed in. It's fascinating to me. This is really why I do this. This is why I got on the internet in the first place. So anyway, fascinating. Yeah, no, right, Max. Tellingly, chuds don't care when their favorite pundits are busted for being on the Kremlin payroll or being child pornographers. I mean, nothing. None of them. It's really a Chan-based, it's like 8chan. It's like 8chan, there's a whole community of 8chan-minded people. Right? We all know some of them where they're just like, they really dig that. It's like the incels on the internet. They just want to be provocative. They just want to say the N-word, and have people get outraged by it. They live for the outrage. So that's one segment of that base really fucking lives for the outrage. because they've been taught that that's kind of like the Pavlovian response to what they're feeding them. Like, you should be really mad about this. And as Jim so eloquently writes about and talks about, is how Q really took hold of that. And that Mike Flynn, who should be arrested, used that training that he had over decades to desensitize people to violence, to activate their kind of primal need to protect children. It's just like it's right there in front of us. And I know we all know this. I'm not saying that this is not known information. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't feel to me, or what's not coming through on the media that I consume, which I think is a mix of mainstream and independent, and then just wackadoodle on both sides. You know, like what I'm consuming isn't telling me that the disinformation is really truly being addressed, you know, and I'm always reminded of the fact that there was an effort by the Biden administration to address disinformation centrally, and that was absolutely attacked, probably with the help of the Russians. And that disinformation office was brought down and to this day is used as some kind of ridicule by the right-wing media machine. Yeah, the limbic brain taking over. That's a really good way to put it, Grace Lisa. Yeah, they live for the fucking outrage. Ivan has not disappeared. He's active on Twitter. But he's mad because his boss is just the chair of the PTA at West Point and not anything more important, although he would like to be more important. So Mike Flynn complains on the daily about Epstein. So, by the way, MAGA, unless he's changed, he might have pivoted, but the last I saw, he was demanding the release of the Epstein whatever too. Yeah, they want to feel better then. Yeah, they want to, well, and actually, Jane, I think this comes from an innate self-loathing. I think that's where MAGA comes from a lot, is that they know they're wrong. They know that their bigotry is wrong. They know that they are not accepted in polite society because of their views and language and behavior and disregard for other people and history. So I think it comes from a place of self-loathing where they have to be outraged. And for once in their lives, I guess, I don't know if that's true. I don't think it's true. But now they see in him and his administration permission to be that awful. Permission to be awful. That's what this administration has given the base. And as long as there's permission to be awful, they can forgive a lot of bad behavior. So it's kind of interesting. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's continue with a much smarter woman and elegant, Miss Ann Applebaum, historian and journalist, and a great follow on Blue Sky or wherever you get your stuff. Anyway, thanks. Hi, thanks, Meowing Star. I appreciate that. Yikes. Disinfo, disinfo, disinfo. Media literacy, media literacy, media literacy, all day long, twice on Tuesdays.
The left, because also that.
So of course they have some far left.
Why do you think it came the time when Russia, or whatever, external players, let's put it like that, can successfully help these political forces that wouldn't have happened probably 15 years ago? So what happened over the last 15, 20 years which now helps the Kremlin to help these forces?
The most important thing that happened is the shift of political conversation from real life to the online world. And also the correspondent shift of Western politics, not just Western politics, but democratic politics everywhere, from arguments about policy to arguments about identity. And the the fact that we now have a global information space meant that it was suddenly much easier for anybody to intervene anywhere, actually. Obviously, going back to the history of the Soviet Union, the Soviet propagandists ran campaigns in Western democracies all the time. I mean, starting from the 1920s. But the internet gives them the possibility of reaching people in ways that wasn't possible before. I mean, and if you think about it, that's the element that ties all these places together. I mean, so I lived part of the time in Poland, and I lived part of the time in the United States. These are countries that have absolutely nothing to do with one another. They're not similar in demographics. They're not similar in economics. They're not similar in history, in anything. And yet it is really remarkable how similar the political language is and can be in both places. And I think that's a phenomenon not of real life, but of the fact that politics are conducted on the internet in similar ways in both places.
Don't you think that the success of such campaigns now in the world is also, you say that it's a globalized world, but also that it is a globalized consumer world, because the Soviets could run whatever campaign they wanted to, whichever campaign they wanted to, but if you don't have milk on the shelves, then you have to wait for 5 years to buy a car, then there's not much you can sell. Now everyone is a consumer, and that maybe helps because there are elements to Hungary and to the United States and to Brazil and whatever. Russia for that.
Maybe, but I think it's the way that language is used and can affect people online that's really the thing that's the same. There's also a big difference between the past and the present. In the Soviet era, the Soviet Union was promoting something, their vision of the world, their idea of the great communist future, and we could compare what they said to the reality. So there was clearly a gap between who they said they were and what they were really doing. Actually, Putin doesn't really promote his model. He doesn't spend a lot of time talking about how great Russia is and how, Lithuania and Spain should be like Russia, and nobody really thinks that. It's an entirely negative form of propaganda. It's about promoting cynicism, promoting nihilism, promoting apathy, persuading people to dislike their so-called establishment, to dislike their political systems. It's a negative campaign rather than a positive one, and that turns out to be a little harder to fight.
Do you think Putin personally realizes it after living so many years in isolation? By the way, there's this idea that Putin was won in 2000, let's say 1 or 2 or 3, and then he became different after the Munich speech. So what do you think? Did he change, or is he what he always was?
So to be clear, I never thought he was a great reformer or a great friend, and and particularly was bothered from the very beginning by the language he used about himself. He talked about himself as a Chekist. One of the first things he did when he took over the FSB was put up a portrait of Yuri Andropov, who was famous, for those of your listeners who don't know, was famous for his repression of dissidents in the 1980s. And so I never had much hope that he was some kind of Democrat. I do think he may have changed strategies. I mean, obviously in the early 2000s, he found it useful to be friendly with the West. He wanted Russia to be part of the G7, and briefly it was the G8. And he had, he sought some kind of accommodation or joint projects anyway with American and European leaders. And so, but was he always a Russian imperialist? Yes, of course he was. We know that from the story of the speech in the early 1990s, of the story of the president of Estonia, who gave a speech at a dinner in Hamburg, and who talked about how happy he was that Estonia was once again part of the Western world. But he was very worried this is 1994, he was very worried about the signs of a resurgent Russian imperialism that might destroy this wonderful new Europe. And the deputy mayor of St. Petersburg, who was then Vladimir Putin, famously got up and walked out of the room. So this is going back many decades. So he is somebody who has had Russian imperial ambitions at least that long. He's had criminal connections from the 90s. So he's somebody whose cynicism and greed have dominated everything that he's done from the very beginning. You're right. Many people chose not to see that. They chose to imagine that he was somebody we can do business with. But and he did, as I say, he changed his tactics. But he was always the same person, I think.
I think one of the mistakes also was that many people thought that because Putin and his entourage, the Russian elite, for lack of a better word, became so rich.
Oligarchs.
Because of that, they will not
mobsters
promote some kind of foreign military adventures because they want to remain rich. So such regimes always also care about perpetuation, on permanency. How does that square with the war which significantly isolated Russia? Or they think that they will manage to transcend, they will be patient and they will win in the end?
I don't have a full answer to why the Russian elite has gone along with a war that has been so damaging, both for themselves personally, but also for their country, or why they have allowed 1 million Russians to be killed or wounded, or why they've allowed their country's wealth to be undermined. I don't have a full explanation for it. It's clearly some combination of fear and reluctance to defy Putin, and perhaps nationalism. I mean, maybe they go along with some part of this vision, of the reborn Russian Empire. That would be my only guess.
What?
I actually also have a theory, which is less well informed than Ann Applebaum's, but I'll offer it just the same. And that is that they go along with it because it's a distraction for other ways that they are increasing their own enrichment. I don't know what those other ways are, but we still are, first of all, there's been huge gains for the oligarchs across the world with the destruction of anti-corruption task forces within the federal government. And that has happened in the last 6 months. So one might imagine that there's some very, I wonder, it'd be interesting to check the, whatever that corruption, what is that, the OCR, something. There's an organization that tracks like corruption. Don't do that to the man. What does that mean? Oh, I know. I think that's a great picture, though. Actually, sorry, Mr. Eggert. But that's what I wanted to offer. I don't know. I just think that's what I think. Okay, back to Mr. Eggert. Woo!
In your view, the West doesn't
understand
about Putin's Russia and the way it's ruled, and about its rulers. And what does Putin, in your view, does not understand about the West?
I think that the West doesn't understand the extremism of Putinism. As I say, they keep imagining that there's a deal to be done, that if we just give Crimea to Russia, then he'll stop fighting. And I don't think they understand that his goals are much broader and more ambitious. And that those goals involve the destruction of the transatlantic alliance and of maybe even of the European Union. So I think they just haven't quite understood how broad those goals are. And therefore they haven't understood the need to, that before there's going to be any end to the war, Putin will have to lose it, or he will at least have to be convinced that it can't be won. And so the path to peace is through convincing Putin that he won't win the war, that it's hopeless. And I don't see right now, and I leave open the possibility of change. People do change their minds, and these are very capricious people and whimsical people. I leave open the possibility of something different happening, but right now the only thing I can see that if you really, really want peace, then you must arm Ukraine and defend it until Putin realizes the war is over. So I think that's the main thing that Westerners don't understand.
And what does Putin not understand?
So Putin has underestimated from the beginning from the beginning. He's first of all underestimated the Ukrainians. He knows very little about modern Ukraine. He doesn't know who they are. He didn't understand that the Ukrainian government is a genuine elected government. It has support, and that the Ukrainian national identity is real, and that the Ukrainians will fight back as long as they can, and that includes fighting a guerrilla war if Kiev were to fall. So, I think he failed to understand Ukraine. I don't think he's been to Ukraine in many years, and he certainly had no contact with modern Ukrainians. So he's imagining Ukrainians from some Soviet era, some Ukrainian communists he met 30 years ago. He has no idea what is modern Ukraine. I think he also...
Well, he met Yanukovych, Kuchma, and Yushchenko for that.
Sure, but that makes my point. But I also think that he doesn't, he really underestimated the ability and willingness of Europe and the United States to help Ukraine. And he has underestimated the power of the ideas of, it's not just democracy, it's also about unity and integrity that do motivate at least a part of the West and Western leaders. And he's consistently underestimated them, and he's consistently got things wrong.
Then why, if we look especially at Europe, countries with similar histories of oppression, of Russian and Soviet occupation for that matter, react so differently to Putin's war? I mean, the best examples, of course, are Slovakia and Hungary.
No, they're different. Hungary is very important, because to understand about Hungary, you need to understand that Viktor Orban is leader of a country that is failing economically, that is badly in need of money and investment. And his party is in need of money and investment. And he believes now that he will get it from Russia and China and not from Europe. So Hungary is the decision of one leader who has made this decision to back Russia, and he backs Russia. I mean, it's not very nuanced. Slovakia is a little bit more complicated. I think it's also about money. It's also about Fico's allegiance to Orban. It's about his fear of Slovak courts and Slovak civil society. And it's less clear to me that he'll stick to some kind of line. But Orban is simply has made a decision to switch sides. By the way, you can see huge protests on the streets of Budapest against him. So it's not that not all Hungarians agree with him.
And what can be done about it?
If you missed it, Viktor Orban, who's the head of Hungary, outlawed any public displays of affection between same-sex couples or expression of LGBTQ. Because that is like just the most. So the people that turned out for Budapest Pride was tens of thousands of Hungarians, and they just it was one of the most beautiful and brave protests I've seen, and such joyous protest against an authoritarian regime who is trying to eliminate the LGBTQ population in Hungary because he's a fucking supremacist, bigot, bullshit asshole, corrupt individual. So they're talking about the fact that people did stand up against his authoritarianism in big numbers in Hungary, and that, it seems a little bit like a possible tipping point for Hungary, which would be wonderful.
That externally, you don't expel countries from NATO and the European Union.
I mean, I'm not in charge of NATO and the European Union, but if I were, I would have found a way to suspend Hungary's voting rights. I mean, Hungary is not an ally anymore. Hungary is not acting as in good faith as a member of the EU, and I would have suspended them. But one doesn't want to kick them out because there are other Hungarians, and there's at least more than half the population would like him to go.
What could the West do externally apart from supporting Ukraine all the way and imposing more sanctions? Are there other things which you think other ways of impacting Russia and the Russian regime that are missing?
Well, we've never had an information campaign to Russia directed at Russians. We have sanctions, but we didn't have an information campaign to accompany the sanctions. We didn't explain
very
our
hard
sanctions.
to get information into Russia.
We have backed Ukraine, and we don't really tell the Russians why we backed Ukraine.
I never really. I was in Moscow in the 80s.
Millions and millions of dollars.
So I graduated from college with a Russian degree, in case you don't know that story about me. And I went to Moscow in 1984, actually. Yeah, 1984. For a few weeks as a student, a Russian student. So I experienced that. Then I went back in 1998 with a boyfriend to visit his brother who lived in Moscow and worked for Gazprom, and who was a British national working for Gazprom in Moscow. So we went and visited him. So I got to see Moscow from a bit of an insider view in 1998 as well. And I can tell you that at both points, it felt equally oppressive. I mean, I love Russia. I love Russian history. I love Russian literature. I love Moscow. Moscow is definitely in my top 3 cities in the world because there's something about Moscow that just gets in your soul. Like the culture is so rich, the history is so rich, everything, I'm a total Russophile, actually. Russophile, I guess. But it just breaks my heart to see the oppression and the scarcity and the corruption and things that have, just always marred its history. So that's why it's so interesting to me. But yeah, it's I don't recall, and of course I have a very limited view, but it has some context for the Russian, media machine, if you will. It never felt as if there was a concerted effort to reach Russians, kind of overall in the ways that certainly in the ways Putin has done it, which is more nefarious. But it's just interesting to me. Or if it did, it didn't feel like it broke through, I guess, to a certain point. But again, that's just my opinion, and it's probably not a very well. I'm a Ukrainophile, and I'm a Ukrainophile too. I'm totally down. I mean, it is all about sovereignty and freedom, and I wish Russia was free. That's what I wish. Then it would be amazing. It would be amazing. I would move to Moscow. I mean, it was so beautiful, but it's just like, no, not under this. You have to go. Okay, bye. I'll see you later. Okay, we're going to finish up this interview. Sorry for keep interrupting.
As do other autocratic
not much,
countries.
A little bit.
Examining
it was pretty controlled.
And thinking about ways to influence us.
Oops.
And
it was really controlled travel. In both trips, it was kind of restrained. Less so, of course, on the second trip in 1998, but still thoughtful. Still watched, probably more so because the guy that I was hanging out with was a Brit national working and living in Moscow, working for Gazprom.
Almost nothing.
Damn it. Gazprom of all things. So I'm sure that he had some surveillance on him. I would be shocked if he didn't. But so I was still kind of aware of the surveillance state kind of feeling in 1998 Moscow. So yeah. Have a good day, Tom. Well, we're going to be done here soon. Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
On thinking about ways to influence Russia or reach Russians or speak to Russians or have conversations with Russians.
It's difficult, admittedly, because of VPNs and bans on certain social media and so forth.
Sure, it's difficult, but it wouldn't have to be impossible. On the contrary, when the second Trump administration began, one of the first things they did was to disband the Global Engagement Center, which was a very small program inside the State Department, which merely identified and exposed, in the last few years, it had been identifying and exposing Russian disinformation campaigns, mostly in the global south, mostly in Latin America and Africa and elsewhere, also in Europe. And yet the Trump administration doesn't even want to do that. So we have made no effort at all to speak to Russians or engage Russians in any way.
Last year in Germany, and I think it was called the Peace Prize of Germany, right? You said that roughly, quoting you, peace does not have to mean pacifism, because pacifism is very frequently a way of appeasing dictators, appeasing aggressors. Do you think that the European moment has come? Do you think that the Europeans, for lack of a better word, saw the light?
I think many did, yes. I mean, I can't speak. It's a very large continent, and there are a lot of people on it, many of whom don't care one way or the other. But certainly the current leadership of Europe, if you look at France, if you look at Germany, if you look at the UK, if you look at Poland, if you look at Scandinavia, if you look at the Baltic states, if you look at the Netherlands, if you look at NATO leadership, even if you look at Italy, if you look at Greece, there is a genuine, I think, understanding of the threat that Russia poses, not just to Ukraine but to Europe itself, and there is a shift towards thinking differently about defense. Both in terms of spending money, but also thinking about what we buy and how we spend the money. We already know this is a very, very different kind of war from any war that anyone has ever fought before. It's a very high-tech drone war, one in which a lot of equipment that people bought for decades, tanks and helicopters, is not useful anymore. And I hear a lot of conversations now about how do we begin to think differently about defense? How do we begin to prepare to defend Ukraine? How do we prepare to defend ourselves? And I think the message is getting through.
Isn't it a paradox that, on the one hand, Donald Trump...
Okay, that's kind of scary. Because what she's saying is that her evaluation of European leadership between the EU and the individual countries that she named off, and that kind of pacifism, et cetera, that really there is a preparation for actual war to protect Ukraine. That's frightening. And I do think, I think she's right. From the moment we watched the Munich Security Conference, months ago, and saw that conversation and the reaction to Trump's coming out of the gate after being inaugurated, that, fuck Ukraine kind of thing. And that panic had really set in with the NATO leaders that came to that conference, the Munich Security Conference, the earlier one, saying, yeah, we get the message. We get the message. And it seems to me they really were activated at that point, which I thought was quite good. Neil's dropping some good Canadian... There's some great Canadian conversation going on about Stephen Harper, who's an asshole, who's back, I guess. That's ridiculous. But tonight, big debate among candidates in Battle River Crowfoot starts at 7 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, probably on CPAC, which is that Canadian. That's not the CPAC you might be thinking of. It's the Canadian political something. I'm not sure what it stands for, but they run all the political statements and stuff like that, which is pretty convenient. Okay, sorry, we are going to finish this. I promise.
Did quite a few things that would please Vladimir Putin. On the other hand, he was one of the main sort of backers of this huge, I think you can call it a major rearmament program on the European
thank you.
continent.
Community Public Access Channel. Great. That's what I thought.
It's not, because
really,
Trump doesn't have a strategy, so he wouldn't have thought about that as he's not thinking, I want Putin to win, nor is he thinking, I want Putin to lose. That's not really how he thinks. He thinks about himself. How will he come out of it?
Yes.
How can he be seen as the person who ends this war somehow? And what Europe does with its defense is a separate issue.
Do you think that this idea of getting a Nobel Peace Prize is very important to him?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a factor.
No, I think it's real. I mean, his sons recently wrote something about it. I mean, they care. They imagine him as a great leader and peacemaker, and they don't have an idea of how to achieve peace, but yes, that's what they want.
Coming back to where we began, to the United States. if someone looks from the outside at the current state of affairs in the US, one sees, I'm not saying it is necessarily so, but one sees, on the one hand, the Republican Party, which is enthralled to the president, which is afraid to offend his popular base, if you wish. And then you have the Democratic Party, which does not seem to be able to produce any kind of visionary leaders that will appeal to wider swathes of the population. And you see only people with, well, you see them with left-wing views which will not be appealing to the majority of the Americans. What is going to happen next? Because we are always told by political scientists that American politics is so dynamic that everything turns essentially in a matter of 5 seconds.
That's true, although you're also making this mistake that almost every European I talk to makes, which is that you forget that America does not have a job for leader of the opposition. It's not a parliamentary system. There's no single person who's going to be the leader. And there won't be until we have primaries for the next presidential campaign, whenever it is, 2 or 3 years from now. So what you want is the emergence of some figure, but that's not going to happen. What you have instead is about 10 people, 10 to a dozen people, who are beginning to build really big constituencies. And the ones who get sometimes the most attention are the ones on the left, AOC, or the mayor of New York, by the way.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Right, yes, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or one of the candidates for mayor of New York, who, and by the way, mayor of New York has never been a position that leads into national politics, never. It just happens to be, a very loud election. But you're not seeing Chris Murphy, who's a senator from Connecticut, who's on air all the time, who speaks constantly, who's building a really important narrative about the excesses of billionaires and so on. You're not paying attention to Pete Buttigieg, who has an equally large online following. There's maybe, as I said, half a dozen senators and governors from different states who are also building support. Governor of Kentucky, governor of Illinois, governor of Pennsylvania.
We're all talking Democrats, right?
I'm talking, these are Democrats. These are Democrats. So, we had some weeks ago, we had the largest national demonstration. This was the No Kings demonstration. Against Donald Trump, which is the largest demonstration that there has ever been in American history, with the most numbers of people in all 50 states. So it's not quite fair to say that there's nothing happening.
And Republicans, are there people that you see now that are preparing to eventually challenge Donald Trump?
No, nobody will challenge Donald Trump before his term is over. But clearly there are people who will want to be president after him. And I imagine the main candidate right now is the vice president. There are 2 or 3 leading Republicans, a couple of senators who have made clear that they're going to begin to dissent more. One of them is the senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, who has announced that he's not going to run for office in 18 months, and instead he's going to spend the next 18 months saying what I think, which we assume to mean is being more critical. We have 2 or 3 others who have certainly at least made passage of legislation for Donald Trump very difficult. So we are beginning to see that too.
I spoke to one of the insiders in the Republican Party who said that in his view, and he's no Trump fan, in his view, very soon the American people, the American electorate, would like to see, and especially the Republican electorate, would like to see more calm style of leadership, more professionalism, more expertise, if you wish. Do you agree that this could be the demand soon, or maybe it's just wishful thinking?
I don't know. I mean, this was clearly why Joe Biden was elected in 2020, because people were sick of Donald Trump, and then they elected Donald Trump again in 2024. So predicting how the American electorate will feel in a year or two is not very useful. As I said, we are now at a moment when politics and voting is much less to do with policies. In other words, we used to have a competition between the center left and the center right in the United States about how high taxes are, or how big is the welfare state, or how much money we spend on the roads, or how much money we spend on healthcare. And those issues are now secondary to questions of which identity group do you belong to, and which candidates represent your definition of yourself. And that makes politics much more volatile and unpredictable, and it allows for the rise of candidates like Donald Trump, who don't really have policies, or who do. He has policies, I suppose. He has instincts rather than real policies, because that's not why people are voting. People are voting based on who makes them feel like a member of the winning group.
Last question. You describe in your book, Autocracy Incorporated, the rise of autocracies across the globe, and this is China, this is Iran, this is Putin, they're very different. Are they all enemies of the West, or some can be turned into even temporary allies? And second question, what do you think should be the principles in this modern age of identity politics, of global information space and so on? What should the West do to be able to face this challenge and probably to win?
This is a group of nations who, as you say, they don't have a common ideology. You know, communist China, nationalist Russia, and theocratic Iran are all very different. I don't think that as a group they necessarily all see themselves at war with the West or with the democratic world, although some of them do. But they do identify this language of Western democracy. So accountability, transparency, above all the rule of law, the idea of independent courts, the idea of free media. They identify those ideas as threatening to them and to their kind of power. And that's the thing that links, you know, Bolivarian socialist Venezuela with communist China and the Iranian mullahs, is they all find this kind of language to be a threat to them, and they understand that they need to defeat it both at home and wherever else they can find it.
I'm just going to interrupt her to also say, and maybe she'll say this too, but I'm not assuming, is that the lack of accountability for the corruption, I think that is also shared in common amongst the countries that have autocracies or autocracies rising. And we are now amongst those, because it will be the enrichment of the rich and the stabilization of that system, right? This is all, to me, related to the release of the Panama Papers and the Pandora Papers, where it just started to get out there that there was just this massive global pockets of corruption. And I really think that has been a tipping point in the acceleration to get us to this point where they can institutionalize and legitimize, if you will, their cover for corruption and their lack of facing accountability for the corruption that they wreak through the privatization of the federal government, through the monetization of data, through all of those things. So it's just very fascinating to me that I think it's that preservation of wealth, preservation of freedom from accountability for corruption is a binding tie. So anyway, yeah.
To undermine it wherever it comes from, and that's the thing that they most have in common. I don't think it's personal towards any particular country or person, or maybe not as a group anyway. In my mind, to fight back against it, we need firstly to tackle some of the big weaknesses in our own society. I mean, we need to push back against this world of shell companies and tax havens, and we need to tax our wealthiest people the same way that other people are taxed. We need to eliminate this world of dark money, which both creates corruption but also funds the worst aspects of our political systems. We could, as a group of democratic nations, we could fight back against kleptocracy much more effectively than we could one-on-one. And we also need to look at regulating the internet. And by regulation, I do not mean censorship. I just mean making transparent the rules,
Yes.
Thinking about what forms of social media we could have that aren't manipulated immediately by advertising companies, and giving people access to evidence-based conversation and,
I might just start crying right now. Because what she's talking about is disinformation. I'm just going to say, I'm so grateful that she's talking about disinformation. Okay. All right. I'm okay.
And better information. I mean, those are actually the sources of our own internal weakness, and defeating those or fixing those would go a long way towards helping solve the problem.
Yeah.
Anne Applebaum, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh my God, Anne Applebaum, thank you so much. You're amazing, Anne Applebaum. Seriously, that bitch is amazing. God, I love her. Anne Applebaum, we love you. Holy shit. I know, solutions. No joke. And really, really good ones. End dark money, end disinformation, or promote information, I guess is a better way of putting it. And go after the financial corruption. God damn it. She fucking nailed it. She fucking nailed it. Bonita Applebaum. Yeah, that fucking nails it, Anne. God damn. Anne Applebaum, we love you. Anyway, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me, or even just leaving the tab open. I'm so grateful to be in your background. You can mute me too. I understand. I don't take it personally, but I appreciate the effort. Boy, she sure does bring the receipts, right? So yeah, please do post. Go to the Discord, find the Discord somehow. It's there. And so join us tonight for, that's an old Tribe Called Quest song. Oh, okay, sorry. I should. Yeah, great job. Great show today. Really enjoyed this show. Thank you for our beautiful Canadian loungers, who share what's happening on the ground in Canadian politics and the latest news. I'm so grateful for that. Never think that's a distraction from what's going on. I'm absolutely 110,000% in support of having these good conversations in the chat. That's part of what makes this show worthwhile to me and attractive, is that this community shares really good information with each other. And I'm really, really, really grateful. Really grateful. So yay, you guys had a great show too. Okay. So yeah, thanks to our beautiful Canadians as well, and all our international friends. We care about your politics too. So when you bring that in, that actually helps us be better. And the cat GIFs are amazing. So you really do need to join the Discord. But tonight we are going to watch a documentary about eugenics. And I want to talk about this week I'll probably talk about what I learned about Operation Beige, which is a eugenics marketing campaign. In specific, the buzz on the street is the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle commercial, which is really disgusting. Not just because whatever, but the objectification of women, but also because of the glorification of an Aryan race. And that really fucking happened. Okay. So we'll talk more about that this week. But yes, eugenics is on the menu, unfortunately. Here we are. All right. Love you all. And we love our Maple friends. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday if I don't see you. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow morning for another version of Wake and Bake with Lolo. Hopefully I will pick the right one. So who's to know? Ring the bell. Okay.